Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. And today, as you can tell, we are going to take a Twin Otter from here in Glasgow. We did fly here to Glasgow a little while back now in the Boeing 757, and the reason was so we can now head off in our Twin Otter and go and do the Barra Beach sort of run. We're going to land on the beach up in northwest Scotland on Barra, where it is the only scheduled beach service in the world, so pretty cool. And also we're going to fly a new airplane, the Twin Otter. We've never done it before on the stream. I've never done it before, so yeah, looking forward to it a lot. And then we're going to get to Barra, and then we'll fly back again. On the way, we're going to get to use a bit of VOR navigation, try out the GPS. I've never really used the Garmin sort of systems that much, so you can wince as you watch me struggle through that. And we'll go and do some landings on the sand. You can see here we have follow one. I'm not sure who that is. There's this follow one sitting next to us. Haven't seen anyone else join us. It looks like it's a solo trip out in the snow up to the beach today, which is pretty much what you'd expect. And here we are in our fantastic Logan Air de Havilland Twin Otter. This is the older variant. They also have the newer Viking version, which we'll talk about once we're on the way. But this is the more basic model which we're running with today. I hope you're all doing very well. Thank you all so much for coming along to join us today. Good to see you, Eric. Yeah, the Twin Otter is definitely something different to the Airbus. Alan Story, I hope someone's checked the tide times. Yeah, I hope so too. And speaking of that, we actually have some nice Orbex scenery for the whole flight today. Not sure how much we'll see. We might fiddle with the weather and cheat just to get a bit of a view. Yellow Man Devine, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. The guy with the rock, hope you're doing well. I'm glad you like the thumbnail picture. Yeah, my thumbnail artist will be very happy to hear that. Bao Mao, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in so early from Seattle. Brilliant. Over in America. James Keats, hope you're doing well. From New York as well. God, we got Americans tuning in this early, which is great. Thank you so much for coming along. Richard V, thanks for coming and moderating. Joseph, good to see you. Chief Sim Pilot, good to see you. Chief Sim Pilot can make one of the last streams, so it's great to see you here today. Thanks for your kind words. Chief Sim Pilot, another YouTuber and part of the Simwings community. Dougal, thank you as well for coming along and moderating. Great to see you here. Just Jeb is trying to check in with 600 pounds of baggage. Yeah, you might not be allowed that on this flight. We're going to see some rather light weights for sort of every aspect of this flight. Really surprised me when I was doing it. Swappy S, thank you so much for your 100 rupee donation. Really appreciate it as ever, your support, Swappy. Very kind of you. Thanks for coming along and thank you for your donation. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it too. It's going to be a bit of a trek, you know. It's a 1 hour flight there and back plus the setup at each end, but it's not going to take us long to set up this aeroplane. But yeah, it's going to be something quite different. And I have flown a turboprop commercially. I have done it, but not this sort of turboprop. So this is a bit different. So that's my excuse. There, go straight off from the start. But yeah, right. Anyway, loads of people say hi to in the chat. Booty2, good to see you as well. Liam 10 Plays isn't interested in X-Plane as much, which is fair enough. Yeah, we'll keep doing both. We get these nice aeroplanes here in X-Plane. And the scenery today should be pretty good. I like the Orbex Scotland scenery. So yeah, Lauren V, good to see you. Lauren V wants to know who's in the hold. Well, this plane can take not many passengers. We'll see shortly. I think it's definitely under 20. So those of you who don't fit in the cabin, you can either go in the nose, which would be probably quite cold and a little more cramped than if you want to go in the rear cargo hold, which is back here. And that's your two options. Oh, can we open this door? Yes, we can. So this is the RW Designs Twin Otter, and I've got to say I'm really impressed with it. Matteo recommended this, and it's got loads of great little features, like the way these propellers are wimmelling, and they'll wimble at different speeds. There you go. Engine 2 is spinning around a little bit faster. We've got a strong wind taking off, a northeasterly wind, because at the moment in the UK there's a strong easterly sort of blizzard coming through. But there we go. I didn't even know you could open those from the outside. So a nice clickable external model even as well. But yeah, Dougal, thanks for coming along and moderating. And Liam, anyway, thank you for being a subscriber and fan. We'll see you next time. Good to see you here. Right, I'm sorry, there's going to be loads of things I've missed. The Weatherman, thanks for coming along. This is my ride in real life. Need any tips? The Weatherman, thank you so much for coming along. Great to know we have some Twin Otter pilots around here as well. You'll be able to give me all sorts of tips as we go, I'm sure, but I'm going to struggle through, I hope. There's some things I think are actually missing, but we shall see. But yeah, thanks for coming along. I'm sure you'll be screaming with frustration at the things. Briony wants to go in the rear cargo hold. Yeah, that's probably what I would choose as well. Certainly. It's a freezing cold day here. Oh, we got John Fleming is in New York as well. Fantastic. Example was taken. Hello, I'm doing well. Thanks for coming. And Ed, good to see you as well. I'm glad you're looking forward to it. Simon C, looking forward to VOR navigation. Excellent. yeah, it's VOR navigation is it's actually really simple. If you follow my tutorial on VOR tracking, then that's it really. VORs are the best way to do it, and you can use the OBS course, and we're going to see a bit of that today. The route is available. If you put an exclamation mark route, Streamlabs will help you out and let you know what sort of route we're going to fly. Apparently this is a Viking one in real life. There you go. But this the model we have today is not. The Viking is the sort of upgraded version. Okay then. Well, let's close up the doors before we forget about that. It does have a little warning when we power it on. And this is a really nice add-on. So we'll get in, close up that door, keep that draft out. I think you can open both doors. Yeah, look at that. Nice. These old little details, but they all add up when you have a nice sim plane. Right, you can choose, this is one of my favorite features, the interior lining color. So obviously I've gone with the sort of sky blue, not quite as bright and neon as I would have liked, but still not too bad. So that's obviously our choice there. And then we can close up those baggage doors here. Great stuff. We're not going to use external power for this one. We haven't got the GTN 750. That's a nice big screen here. No idea what that is or how to use it. Barely understand this one, and I really mean barely. But what is nice is I can toggle the weight and balance. So let's load it up first. So for this flight, and I can show you on, I should have had this ready to go. There we go. We need 800 kilograms of fuel, and that's all we need as we set off. Got an alternate of Presswick, so actually the alternate fuel is further than our trip fuel. So there you go. So 800 kilos will be more than enough fuel. It will get us back to Glasgow if we need to. We're going to cruise at flight level 100. Flight time around about an hour to go up there. So yeah, all pretty good. We're all filed on VATSIM, I hope, for once. And what I will do is let's bring up the Glasgow charts. We're definitely going to be taking off of 0.5 today. Strong northeasterly wind. This is this easterly sort of cold weather we get sometimes in the winter in the UK. So it is chilly, 0 degrees with recent snow, recent rain. Yeah, so you definitely need, you probably need de-icing in these conditions and anti-icing as well, most likely. We'll go to our charts. And I'm just going to get this done before we power up, because basically we're going to be on batteries. So once we power up the airplane, we're going to have to get underway pretty quickly. Lizzo5, thanks for coming along and moderating as well. And Andy H132, who has been up there, so knows all this. So thanks for coming along. Right, let me see if I can keep up the chat. Charlie, hello to you. Thanks for coming. And Sarah, hope you're doing well. Right, here we go. So, you guys know Glasgow by now. We arrived here not long ago. We're parked here on the domestic pier. We're going to go out, down Gulf, take off, and we could take off from anywhere. We could take off from Delta. We could probably get airborne from Charlie. I'm not sure what the Twin Otters use in real life, but I don't know. We'll see what air traffic give us. I think Echo would be a nice compromise. Strong headwind, and then off we go. No point spending time taxiing down to Gulf in today's weather. Strong headwind for that takeoff. And we're going to do the Clyde departure. So we'll set this up shortly, but we're going to take off, head up, Zexus, left turn round, intercept this sort of GAL, a radial of 298, and then head out to Clyde and then onto our airway. And I have Navigraph set up. So once we get to Clyde, we're going to carry on tracking 297 from the GAL, which will be the Lima 602 airway. So hopefully all pretty straightforward. We shall see though, we shall see. And there's lots of things I'm going to struggle with in this airplane. You're going to find out very soon. So let's load it up. I've said we've got 9 passengers. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This has got 17 seats, it seems. I'm probably counted that wrong knowing me, but there we go. So let's stick in 9 passengers. I want to keep that CG somewhere reasonable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But the fuel makes a big difference to this. So we don't have enough fuel at the moment. We've got a total of 600 kilos. So that's payload done. Ed Haslam, thank you very much for your £9.99 donation. Really appreciate it. Ed says, looking forward to this live stream as the Twotter is my favourite aircraft, having spent 8 years as a technician on a geophysical survey aircraft flying at 150 feet AGL. Many thanks. That's great, Ed. Thank you so much for your donation. Really appreciate it. And you tell me what you like about this or dislike, and you'll also be able to comment on my flying. As you'll see, we've got a full cabin. Sadly, when you put passengers on, it doesn't actually add them visually. But thank you very much for the donation, Ed. I really appreciate it, and thank you for supporting the channel. Very kind of you. And yeah, fascinating. Geophysical survey aircraft at 150 feet. That must have been good fun. Good fun indeed. Right. Victor says, yeah, you've been looking at your videos for about 8 hours at work. So happy when I saw that you were doing a live. Only 5 hours left till I can go home. Well, hopefully we can entertain you for some of that, as long as it doesn't distract you too much, Victor. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for saying so. And yeah, thank you, Ed, for your donation. Really appreciate it. Right. Okay. Yeah, we have overhead throttles in this. Oh, loads of fun things in this airplane. So, fuel. You just click fuel. Great little add on this, and you'll see now, because the tanks, unusually, they're not in the wings. They're forward and aft, and they're actually low down, which causes a few issues. One of the issues with the fuel on this airplane is there's no way for it to get to the engines without electronic pumps. So we have normal pumps, then we have emergency pumps, we have boost pumps, and all of it's required. Yeah, a little bit strange. I didn't know that. Anyway, so as you'll see, I top up the fuel and the CG starts to go aft. And I'm imagining this is the takeoff limits, but I don't know for sure. So I'm going to top up the front a bit more as well, just to keep it roughly in the middle. We like to have the CG balance between forward and backwards. Forward is more stable, backwards is more fuel efficient. But if the CG goes too far backwards, you'll just lose control of the airplane. So there we go. Right, let's just check. 800 and... I can't believe we're getting 35 frames a second. 800 kilos, that'll be more than enough. Yeah, so we'll go with that. Let's take it a little bit out the front. 804, there we go. For my messing around. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 passengers. Nicely spaced out. This row might be a bit unhappy. The only unlucky row to have all 3 seats filled. So we're going to take off total weight 5 tons. So we're only going to be 5 tons. There's a magic number, 5,700 kilograms in the UK. If you're below that weight, you can do all sorts of fun things, such as visuals and so on, that larger aircraft aren't allowed to do. So the Twin Otter seems to actually meet that criteria, but maybe at maximum weight it wouldn't be. So we are taking off at 5 tons. Yeah, so numbers seem to match up. That's always a good start. We'll get rid of that now, and now I can go to Toggle's checklist. So let's get ourselves powered up. So this plane's completely cold and dark, obviously. Would be freezing cold at this point. There's no APU, there's no auxiliary power unit like the Airbus, so we can't heat it up, and we can't provide it with electricity until we turn on the batteries. But we're going to show you how we're going to do that, hopefully. First, we're going to get rid of the control locks off. Click down here. The weatherman says no, nobody sits in row 1. There you go. Yeah, so well, we'll leave it as it is. Well, maybe we can oh, that's gone too far back though. You can come there. There we go. Keep it in the middle. Yeah, it's never that perfect airplanes. Usually you think you could space out nicely and then you end up all crowded in the back. And the same thing happens on Airbuses as well sometimes and other airliners. Right, control locks are off. The parking brake is set. That's this little one here. So that is set when we pulled it. Handles in. I'm assuming that's talking about these fire handles. So we'll leave those pushed in. Emergency fuel switch is normal. So I talked about the emergency fuel. That is going to be these ones. So this is actually a way of cutting off fuel to the engines as opposed to the pumps. The emergency pumps are down here. But there we go. They are in normal, both of those. Emergency pumps off. That's these. Off and off. Fuel selector normal. In the middle, it's running on normal. Boost pumps off. These are the normal boost pumps. So in the middle, they are off, which is perfect. Static source normal. That is hidden down here. If I can move this out of the way. Oh. And... oh, where is it? There it is, static source. So in the vertical position, that's normal. That's talking about the static air pressure. So you'll have an alternate source in case that gets blocked. That's more of a thing on these smaller style aircraft, and the Airbus has so many static sources and computers and so on. Anyway, hello to FS Turt. Thanks for coming along. Right, there we go. So static source, vent fan off. The vent fan is down here. Oh. It's amazing how much is hidden. So vent fan needs to be off. I'm not sure what that does. Presumably cools the avionics, but that's a total guess. Inverter switch, select 1 or 2. Now, if any of you have this add-on, please tell me where that is, because I've looked and looked and looked. I think it should be up here somewhere, but it just doesn't seem to exist. And I've looked at pictures online, and yeah, it seems to be missing. So we're just going to leave it as it is. It doesn't seem to matter. What the inverter is the inverter is, this airplane has DC generators, and then there is an inverter to turn it into... am I getting that the right way around? An inverter to turn it into AC. I think that's the idea. Goodness me. These smaller aircraft tend to be more DC focused with just some AC used for sort of heating and so on. Right, Victor is operating with 1650 Celsius molten steel. Yeah, I hope you don't get too distracted with that. Corrosive Moon, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Great to have you here today. Brainhammer says, if all passengers and crew ran to the back of the 320, would you notice any change in flight? That's going to depend on circumstances. I really don't know. I couldn't answer that one, I'm afraid. Never had it happen, thankfully. Right, so Anyway, we've done inverter switch, de-icing switch off. So the de-icing is all up at the back here. We are going to use some of this today, but it's all off by default when we did cold and dark. It's hard to find your place back in this checklist. You can't tick through, sadly. Cabin lights and signs. Now this says you can set them now. I mean, the whole airplane's off, so it seems a bit odd to me, but I'm going to arm the emergency lights, turn on the cabin lights, so it's ready, I suppose, when we power on, but I really don't know if that's what you would do in this situation. Beacon can come on. Again, we're not going to use it, but the beacon is actually the anti-collision. That's going to be the red beacon on top. They call it anti-collision in this aeroplane, or certainly in this add-on anyway. Bleed air switches off. The bleed air switches are both off. Pitot heat off. That is, let's see if we can find it. And you'll want some of these things, such as the pitot heat, could take a lot of juice out of the battery. Where is the pitot heat? There it is. That is off. Perfect. Generator switches off. They are both there and they are currently off. Bus tie switch normal. Bus tie normal. So the bus tie is keeping it connected to each side, so that you might want to turn it to open, which will separate the two sides. That's what we do in the Airbus if we're having electrical problems, to try and fix it. Inverter is DC to AC. TRU, a transformer rectifier unit, that is AC to DC. That's it. So in these smaller aircraft, you have a DC electrical system run by the engines that will have some AC. So there'll be an inverter to make it into AC for the few systems that need it. In an aircraft like the Airbus, you'll have an AC generator, and then if you need it, you can transform it into DC for the few DC things that require it, such as battery charging, stuff like that. That is not a very interesting topic, I appreciate. And electrics is one of the hardest things I found when I studied my exams to become an airline pilot, but there we go. Right, so bus tie switch normal, flap handle up. The flaps in this airplane are interesting, completely movable, so you have infinite number of positions. It's just you can just slide it. Rare to see that, but quite cool. So there we go. Flap handle is up. Fuel levers are off. These are the fuel levers, not mixture. It's just on or off as far as I can tell. You can't apply mixture to this airplane, or at least I don't think you should. I think because it's a turboprop, obviously, so fuel injected of sorts. Propeller levers full forward. They are fully forward for engine start. Some other turboprops don't run it like that, but here we go. Power levers flight idle, which they are. Windshield heat and wipers off. Now that is actually over on the FO side. So you can do everything from the captain's seat except this. So the windshields are there in park, or I suppose they should be off, and yeah, they're not running. And then the heater is off. Doesn't seem to be fitted to this airplane. Although it looks like it is, because we've got that little filament. That's the giveaway sign of a heated windshield, this sort of electrical filament running around the edge. But there we go. Landing lights are off. Ignition is normal. Up here behind the red thing, I don't know what alternate ignition is, but there we go. DC master on battery. So here we go. Let's power ourselves up. So DC master, we're going to turn on. It doesn't do a whole lot because we've got to select this to battery. And now the lights come on. The airplane comes to life. And if you look outside, you'll see our little beacon on the tail. So actually, having said that, let's go back a step. Well, it's tricky now, isn't it? Because we're going to have to... How do we get hold of air traffic control? Let's hope that the... I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give ourselves ground power. Instead of sitting there draining the battery. External. There we go. And we can see we have nice voltage on the bus. And very little load. We can actually see the load on each of the generators. Or the battery load, generator load. 0. Yeah, it makes sense. So there's some load on the battery. Anyway, let's power up those radios. Oh man, this is taking me back a long way. And let's talk to Scotland. Inverters right behind your head. Let's try and find the inverters once more. Yeah, I've searched and searched and searched. I'm convinced they're missing. Yeah, so we have some controllers here today, I think. Start, then contact them, Felix says. Yeah, maybe we could do that. Chickpoint, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. I'm just, let me see if I can bring up Xpilot. Here we go. Right, we have Glasgow, have an ATIS running 129575. Let's pick that up. So... hopefully my radio panel is working. It is. Look at that.
Glasgow information Yankee. Time 550 Zulu. Runway in use 05. Transition level flight level 70. Surface wind 050 degrees 10 knots. Visibility 7 kilometers to the northeast, 1,800 meters light snow. Few at 1,200 feet. Broken 2,200 feet. Broken 3,100 feet. Temperature -1. Dew point -2. QNH 1015. Threshold QFE 1014. Acknowledge receipt of information Yankee. And advise aircraft type on first contact.
There we go, information Yankee. And what do we get from that? Well, it's cold. We've got that northeasterly wind, so we know we're going from 05. And QNH is 1015, quite a high QNH today. Now, that creates a bit of a problem here because for some reason, this is the only add-on I've seen where it's only shown in inches. So I have a little conversion table ready to go here. QNH was 1015, and that's going to be 2997 apparently. Well, yeah, it was pretty much there then. I suppose, yeah, 30 feet, it's 230 feet minimum, isn't it? So that makes sense. Perfect. Right. Made that more complicated than I needed to, of course. Good stuff. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Let's get this to standby. So we're ready to set our squawk. And I'm so used to, I mean, this is so out of my comfort zone that I'm going to have to figure this one out as we go in terms of the order of doing things. But I think I'm going to just contact Glasgow ground and get clearance now as we're using external power and hope the airplane continues to start up. So we are with Glasgow and we are the Logan 251.
Glasgow ground, easy 909 radio check.
And there's a little external power out there.
Easy 909 Glasgow ground, good afternoon.
Evening, Pilot Stud. Good to see you, Pilot Stud, another YouTuber. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing very well. Let's see if we can word it. Was that just a radio check? Glasgow ground. Good afternoon, Logan 251, stand 3, DHC6. We have information Yankee QNH 1015. Request clearance Barra.
Logan 251 Glasgow ground. Good afternoon. Clear to Barra on the Clyde Free Barra for departure. Squawk 3252.
Clear to Barra, Clyde 3 Bravo departure. Squawk 3252. Logan 251. Fantastic, fantastic. We've got a controller, so I'm very pleased that the controller showed up today. That's really nice of them. Let's set in that squawk. So we're going with 3252. Oh no, what am I doing? This one, the way the Logitech panel does it is really, really sort of strange. You have to press the cross arrow. But there we go, 3252. It's worked, so that's always good news. And what we're going to do then is have a look at that departure. So to show you guys our departure for this one, as we said, we know we're going via Clyde. So we're going to take off. We're going to take off track 051 from the GAL 1154. So let's tune the GAL now, which it is 115.4. Set my radio panel so I can do that from here. There we go, 1154. And we can see that on here. 051 is the core. So I'm going to put this to 051 now. Might not work actually until we power up, but it seems to be roughly aligned. I'm not sure it would be in real life, but there we go. And
easy 909. Easy 909 negative. Cleared Nova 1 Juliet departure. Squawk 5664.
wonder where EasyJet's going. And our departure is up to 6,000 feet on the Clyde departure, so we can wind that in here. It does have an autopilot today, thank goodness. 6,000 feet. And off we go. Over here, we can tune this as we want to, so I can actually make a little flight plan. It's not too important, but what I can do, for example, procedure. Let's select our departure. It knows we're starting at Glasgow. And I'm going to, I'm going to sit here and talk like I know what I'm talking about here because I managed to do it. I can tell you I only figured out even this bit earlier today. So yeah, there we go. Load that in. Clyde, that finishes at Clyde. We're going to push to select, scroll all the way down. And from Clyde, we are going to go to Bruce. We take the Lima 612, but there we go. So I think I need to take the little oil. There we go. It always starts with K, presumably because it's American and it thinks we want to go to an American airport. There we are. BR.
Glasgow ground, GBM Golf Tango Bravo Mike Foxtrot, clearance to Barra as well.
Hey, someone is joining us. Someone's brave enough. BRUCE. Enter. Yes, please. We want the UK one. Thanks. Accept. There we go. 38 miles. That makes sense. And from Bruce, we're going to Tango India Romeo. There we go. It's actually, you know, I haven't used these since I learned to fly, and even then we basically weren't allowed to use these systems, so it's something that's totally passed me by. I know that some people are trained with these now when they do their PPLs and so on, but when I was learning to fly, these were sort of considered as, you just weren't allowed to use it, and you had to just do all your flight planning using your CRP5, your little sort of paper computer. Now this works pretty well, and I think they're hideously unintuitive compared to what we have in the Airbus, but they are quite neat in the sense that you can do all of this with just this tiny little box and you can fit it into any aeroplane. So I get that you can't have an integrated system. But anyway, Tango India Romeo, and then finally we can put in our destination. So it's just nice to have a backup in there in case I get completely lost. Stranger things have happened. So, and, oh no. There we go, little one. And of course, these sorts of things are always better when you have a full size thing. E.g. PR. Now this must be hideously boring to watch. I do apologise. There we go. Barra Beach. It's in there. Enter. Yes, please. And then we can actually set up an arrival later. But I don't want to do any of that. Let's go to the flight plan. Look, we got a route. I can't believe it. I'm going to change the CDI. Well, actually, no. We're going to do it on the VOR first, just to compare. Okay, great. Get rid of that. I don't know if that's included in X-Plane or whether this is made by the Twin Otter people, the RW design, but it's great. It's really nicely done. So there we go. Out 051, 4.9D at Zexus. We make our left turn, track 259, and then we're going to intercept the 298. So I'll have to review that when we're underway, and I can give you the script here. Straight ahead, 051 to 4.9, then make a left turn to 259 track. Importantly, track. Tricky to do here because we're not going to have a track displayed. We're going to have to just make it work. Climbing to 6,000 feet, and then we can make that right turn. So we'll do something close to that, or I'll just cheat and use the screen, but I don't think we'll need to. It's tricky because on this SID, as you'll see, this point's easy to reach. It's defined by the GAU 4.9, but this is harder to reach. You've got to head straight for a waypoint that's based off a distance and a radial without anything to track here. You just fly that track. So it's easy to fly this track and intercept this radial, but aiming for a point in space like that is almost impossible. So it's it's an interesting one. Charlie says, let's hope you're on your approach when the tide isn't in. Yeah, I hope so. I've practiced several times and it was always out, so I'm hoping X-Plane doesn't have the ability to show the tides. Checkpoint says, this feels a little bit like those really old first-gen Garmin nav you had in the car. They are painfully blue screens. Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Right, let's see. Okay, so that is our departure. We've been cleared for that. I think it's time to get started. Let's get started. And we're going to power back from stand. Who hasn't wanted to do that? And there's the other Logan. Logan 251, stand 3, request engine start.
Logan 251, stand 3, engine start approved.
Engine start approved, Logan 251. So the reason, I mean, IFR, we would normally get engine start because there could be reason our flight plan hasn't been accepted or delayed. So whether the real ones do that or not, I don't know. Maybe they depart VFR when they can. Who knows? Somebody does know. I don't know, I'm afraid. There we go. So ignition switch to normal. DC master on battery. So let's put the DC master to... Oh, is it going to just clink off though? No, it's still alive. Good. DC master is on battery. External battery switch checked. Yeah, it's on battery. bus voltage checked. So that's down here. That's our bus voltage. We've got loads of bus voltage. That's great news. Caution lights test. We can test those with this little switch up here. Tests. And they bring those up. They're all working nicely. So a little caution warning panel, typical of the de Havilland Canada style airplanes. So leave those on bright. Fire detection test. Now, I figured out where the test is. Don't know where the mute is. Apparently there's a mute button. I've been looking and looking, couldn't find that either. The weatherman says, this is meant for GPS FMS equipped aircraft and not for VOR aircrafts. This departure. Yeah, exactly. No, this is, the departure is not an RNAV, but it is essentially, you need to be able to do it. The easier way, as it were. Better pushback will push this plane. They send something that looks like a modified skateboard. Now, what I want to do a power back just for the fun of it, Andy. But yeah, that's good. I like better pushback. It has so many different things to it. Right, we're clear for the start. So fuel quantity check. Yeah, we've got it. We've got 500 in there, and 900 in there, and that's all in pounds. So that puts us at, yeah, that sounds about 800. That seems reasonable. Always hard to convert. Right, engine start. Fuel levers off. They are both off. Prop levers full forward. These are the prop levers. They're full forward. Power levers are idle. They are always power levers in turboprop aircraft. I don't know why, but it's just one of those things. They're just called power levers, or they've written throttle actually, but there we go. Boost pump forward and aft on. So let's turn on the fuel pumps. We need those on. As I said, it won't get fuel otherwise because the fuel is beneath us and the engines are above the fuel tanks. Unusual design, but there it is. Boost pumps forward and aft are both on. Start switch engine right. Let's do it then. So quick last check outside. No one's going to get hurt if we start up that engine. It's really easy. To the right. Round it goes. RPM's increasing. Let's give it some fuel. Fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much for the likes. If you're watching and enjoying it, do please hit the like button. It does make YouTube very happy. Thanks, Alan. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying, a like is always appreciated, of course, if you are enjoying it. There we go. Right, let's get engine number, or the left, not even numbered. So, same thing. Over it goes. Round it goes. You can actually see this one just about whizzing around. Give it some fuel. And it's all happening. We are underway. Just going to turn down my own audio. You let me know how loud it is. Fire mute should be by your left knee if it's there. Power lever tests. Beta range, prop governor, auto feather. Firebell mute, there it is. There you go. Well done. Thanks. I searched so long for that. Couldn't find it anywhere. Alexander, asked me that question again in the cruise. But no, I haven't had too many issues with my TCA. The throttle does tend to work okay for me. It took a bit of setting up though. Great sounds, very realistic, says Ed. Yeah, I agree. Nice sounds. Right, so they are now started. It now wants generator left and right on. Generators back on the overheads. Where have they gone? No, this is not a very ergonomic overhead panel. There, I've said it. Now, the checklist doesn't say so, but the guide I read for this said you set them to reset and then on. Might help them come online. Pneumatic low pressure. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Yeah, it's all written here. So let's carry on. Let's do the pre-takeoff now. So trim tabs, we're going to set. Let's put that in the takeoff range. There we go. Flaps to 10. I'm doing this all now because I'll forget otherwise. So look at that. We get a nice scale up here and it's just adjustable. Flight instruments check. So we said we are going to track 051 initially. So if I can set this course bar to the 050051, close enough. And let's bring the heading bug round to something reasonable. Let's display the GAL VOR with our RMI needle. These are called the RMI needles. And we have it there and identifying up here, GAL. Excellent news. So that is that. We've got our stop altitude. I think that's all there is. It's quite simple when you get to this point. So I'm quite happy with that. It's quite nice. Flaps, flight instruments checked, navcom radios checked and set, prop levers full forward, instruments checked. They're all looking very reasonable. Bleed air left and right as required. So we need the bleed air to provide some of the heating in the boots. So let's put on the bleed air. That will get rid of that pneumatic low pressure. And we've got prop de-ice. We're going to want pitot de-ice. I'm going to put on the position lights as well. Let's have the no smoking seat belts. So all the lights on. Where is the pitot heat? There it is. We want pitot heat on for sure. Right. I think we're pretty much ready to go. Logan 251, request power back, stand 3.
Logan 251, after the TBM passes from your left to right, stand 3, power back approved.
After TBM passes left to right, power back approved from stand 3, Logan 251. Fantastic. So they're going to go. Oh, there they are. There's the TBM. Excellent. I was getting confused there. So they're going to go and we are cleared to power back. Now, I do not know the power back procedure either. It wasn't included in the checklist I've got, but I'm going to hold it on the toe brakes, which releases that parking brake. And I'm going to use... Well, before I do that, let's make sure they go. I saw a video of this online and they had... somebody filmed it from the window and the airplane whizzes back, turns onto the centre line, and then it was so close. There was a 737 parked over here, but they seemed quite capable. Well, obviously they're capable, but it's just great to see. Right. Into reverse. Let's go. Start the chrono. Now, I'm not going to touch the brakes. That's the key to this, I'm sure. Otherwise, we'll just drag our tail over. So we'll just use the engine thrust to brake. Look at that. Great fun. Oof, a bit fast at the end there. Right. We'll take that. It's so unintuitive because you have to bring the thrust levers forwards to slow down. Really, really hard. And in the video, they just went off from here. They just drove off. A bit quieter here compared to Manchester the other day, says Mike. Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is a bit more easy on the ears for air traffic control. That's for sure. Right, I think we're ready to go. Logan 251, request taxi.
Logan 251, can you accept Delta 1 today?
AFM.
Logan 251, taxi to Hollywood Delta 1, runway 05, by Kilo Golf on Delta.
By Kilo Golf Delta to Delta 105, Logan 251. Right, we're on Kilo, left on Golf, but remember right on Delta. So yeah, half of the runway, that'd be more than enough. So, release those brakes, off we go. Seems to have a bit of residual thrust left in it.
Logan 455, your flight plan showing from that you going from Edinburgh.
Excellent, right. Oh yeah, and we do have some extra lights we can use. We've got landing lights, I suppose they probably wouldn't be on just yet. And let's get the taxi lights. It does seem to run away a bit. I'm not sure I've quite got the idle detent set right. And it's really responsive on the old rudder. Really responsive. It looks like the tiller is this little thing on the yoke. But I couldn't find a way to assign that separately to the rudder pedals. So fingers crossed. Ah, there we go. We have another DHC6 300 expert in the chat. More power than back if you ask me. Yeah, that was probably a bit fast. We won't have to do a power back out of Barra. Alright, let's see if I can get the seats in the right position. Because that's still idle thrust, I'm sure. Well, there you go. DHC6 300 FO. Can you tell us, would this airplane run away at idle thrust, or do you have to move the thrust levers forward to taxi? Because the turboprop I flew, it most certainly needed thrust to move forward on the ground. Monitor 1228, Logan 251. Thanks for your help. Bye bye. Still, we are racing around. So we're going to go left here. It is breezy out there. So for the takeoff, we've taken off flaps 10. We're going to rotate around 75. And then we are going to set off and climb at about 90 knots. Yes, Papa, thanks for coming along. Hope you're doing well. See, so our first officer flew the Grand Canyon tours. Fantastic. Right, here's Delta 1. There goes the TBM in front of us. I'm going to just stop here for a second to make sure I've got everything set in my mind. So let's set that transponder to as fancy a mode as we can. Let's set 1228 for Unicom. And then I'll report it out there. It's not very nice weather, so I don't know who could be an approach. There we go. The traffic in front's taken off. So we're going to take off. We're going to track out the 051. And we're going to do that until... let me bring it up. I'm just going to bring it up in my separate little app so I can see it straight away over on my other screen. So 051 out to 4.9 miles, which we can see on here. And then we'll make our left turn. So let's see if we can make it work. Glasgow traffic, Logan 251, lining up and taking off runway 05 at Glasgow for a Clyde departure. Right, so brakes release, on we go. On we go, excellent. Right, I'm looking forward to it. About an hour once we get in the air. It could be a bit rough, but looking at the weather, it should be nice once we get up above the clouds. And I'm hoping it'll be nice when we get there. We will make sure the weather's nice when we get there so we can do a nice visual in. There is also some RNAV approaches, but they're not so fun. They're quite time consuming as well. I don't know if you apply forward or back stick in this for takeoff. For turboprop I flew, you didn't need to, but I don't know. Our first officer will be able to help us on that one. Yeah, just fun on the ground, this plane. It does bounce around. So we've got a strong headwind here. Right, let's go. Take off. Oh, yeah, see, it's just too twitchy because it's using that nose wheel steering. Already doing 50 knots, 60 knots, 70 knots. Right, up we go. That didn't take any runway at all. I said I want to climb at about 90, so already a bit fast. Let's try and trim it out. And we're supposed to just go straight ahead until we get onto that radial. Climb up to 6,000. Oh, getting a bit slow. I'm used to just pitching up and up through sort of, yeah, up to 20. But these climb out a little bit shallower. A bit out of trim there. It does have a habit of going to the right. So can our experts in the chat, I'm just going to try and bring it left onto that radial. And we're going to bring up those flaps now. We'll accelerate to 90 before I bust the flaps. So can they please answer, does the real aircraft have a habit of just rolling right? Even when I use the rudder trim, and there is a rudder trim in this down here, but whatever I do, it doesn't actually make a difference. It doesn't stop it. Yeah, it did take off quick with that headwind. So we're now sort of shallowly intercepting. Try and keep it trimmed out for 90. But if I let go, you'll see, whatever I do, it doesn't matter what trim. I couldn't find an aileron trim. It just keeps going. 400 feet for the flaps up. There we go. So we got those up out of the way. And now we can see on that VOR, our radial is starting to come in. And over here, we're 2.1 miles. So not long until we're going to make our left turn anyway. It's track 259. Let's get the range in on that a little bit. Oh, see, look at that. As soon as you let go, off it goes to the right. Very strange. I don't know why. And it could just be my simulator setup. Should be okay trimmed out. Yeah, I've tried everything, every trimmer I can use in it, and it just doesn't seem to care. Anyway, good news is we do have an autopilot. So I can go like that and heading, and it will track that heading bug, and then I need to press IAS, and it should keep climbing at the speed it was last set to. The add-on trim is halfway left, and most of them are going to be a long flight if it's not included. I think this is the rudder, and this doesn't seem to do anything to it. Anyway, right. Get that heading bug a bit round to the left. So we're at 3.5. We're going out to 4.9. The aileron trim is halfway to most of them. Yeah, check the weight and balance menu and make sure the left and right tank are equal. Yeah, the tanks. So the fuel tanks are actually in line. I did try that before. But yeah, they're actually in line, so it doesn't matter. It's a really strange setup. So 1 mile to go. Then we're going to make a left turn to track 259. Into the ice we go. So if we did pick up ice, we have de-icing boots, which I have used before. They are not as good as a heated wing. That's just a fact. But these airplanes aren't meant for flying around in the strongest, worst icing out there. Aileron trim usually on the yoke. Yeah, so is it this? Again, it doesn't seem to be clickable. I'll just end up dragging the yoke around. 4.6, 4.7. I can show you actually on here. So there we are. Magically, 4.9. You can see we're on that course bar, which was set to 051. So now we need to track left, track 259. But the problem here is we're going to turn so tight inside. What you can do is I can drag this round to 259. Just so I have something to follow. That's what sometimes you do when you're learning to fly. Because why not? 24, 25, 259 is somewhere there. Oh, no, hold on. There we go. So we're going to be so tight. What I'm going to do is just get myself onto the 298 radial. And away we go. The aileron trim controls are down beside the seats at the back. Very hard to see unless you know they are there. Oh, there you go. There it is. That is the most hidden flight control I've seen. And that, I assume that means that does the FO even get one? There you go. You guys are a font of information as always. Okay, so passing through 4,000 feet. Got a good rate of climb on today. That's pretty good. And now I need to intercept the 298. So we're tracking 259. Actually, we're not quite. Let's bring it left a bit. And now I need to intercept the 298 radial. Now this is all going to look wrong because I'm turned way too tight, but I want to get on this 298 and fly outbound to Clyde, and that takes me onto my airway. So let's set that up now. Going to set 29. Oh no, not heading bug, wrong one. Two, 7, 8, 9, 298, and now this course bar will come in, and we can actually get the airplane using nav mode to actually fly that course bar, which is something the Airbus cannot do. It can't fly a VOR radial using the actual VOR. You have to do it using the nav mode and all of that stuff. Right, let's get those. I'm just going to bring that power back a bit because I'm pretty sure you can't take off and climb at just maximum everything. I notice the RPM goes a bit high and the temperatures go up a bit. And there we go, climbing at 500 feet per minute. So now, when this line starts to come in, we can turn right and we'll be on that radial and off we go. We're going to climb up to 10,000 feet today. So let's do that. That should get us just above the clouds. Fantastic. Yeah, pull the props back or you're deafening everyone, yeah. So the turboprop I flew didn't have adjustable RPM like that. It was it only had 3 options, which probably gives you a clue what I flew. Yeah, Lauren, yeah, that departure is not really set up for this. I've heard these guys depart Glasgow while I've been there, and they tend to just sort of visually fly off. I mean, frankly, we could easily have done this using this. You'll see here it would have done it right, intercepted here, and it will fly up to Clyde. So I could have just put it into nav mode and let it do it. I'm purely doing this just for my own amusement. Because I did that video on my channel. If any of you are wondering what I'm doing with all these needles and so on, I have a channel about it. I have a channel. You know I have a channel. I have a tutorial on tracking the needles, which is just something we don't do much in the Airbus, but it's something you need to know. It's something that it's always there. We just don't have to talk to it as much as we would otherwise. And here we have a radio altimeter. I wonder if this is where you put your MDA, or I should say DH. Luke's Aviation and F1, good to see you. 70% should be good. Ah, okay, 70%. So really, that low down on the RPMs? Is that RPMs or is that percentage? Because it looks like it's out of the green range before I do something. But you can see our oil temperature actually. We probably should have warmed up those engines. That's pretty cold. Really nice add on this, guys, by the way. It wasn't too... There we go. We've made it out the cloud at the top. Some scenery down there. I'm hoping it will clear up a bit. It did earlier when I did a practice run. Yeah, there we go. Looking much nicer. Now to make an entire channel about needle tracking. Yeah, maybe we do. The Dragons battle says, how strictly do you follow the departure charts when flying? You follow them completely accurately until you're told otherwise. Yeah. 75% prop speed is the min. So, sounds like we can bring them back. I did notice if you leave them at maximum, there you go, we actually get a bit of a boost if we reduce them a bit. But it starts to increase the T5 temperature. So now they're getting into the yellow. But by making them more coarse, we can get more thrust out of the engine. Mr. Espresso says, firstly, welcome Mr. Espresso, thanks for coming. Mr. Espresso says, is it common for these props and turboprop GA planes to fly during winter at -4 or below? I've been talking. Round we go. We missed our bar there. Yeah, they can fly around in the winter. This route is flown all year. And over the winter, you can actually book a ticket on this flight as a passenger just for the fun of it, to go up to Barra and back again. So yeah, they seem to. So what are we doing? 95 knots. Is that a reasonable climb speed? Charlie scared me there. Charlie said you didn't bring the gear up. So very good. No, we didn't. And at some point we need to go to standards because we are going up to flight level 100. Even I know that's 29902. So there it is. It climbs really well. I'm actually quite impressed. You know, we have 9 passengers on. Right, so we need to track... Well, we're tracking out to Clyde. If I bring up Navigraph, we need to track to join this airway. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Andy says, -4, nothing. Buffalo fly DC3s in -30. Yeah, exactly. And remember, this is a turboprop, not a piston. So these sort of engines are quite... They're more reliable. There's less moving parts than a piston engine with all its exhaust systems and so on. So yeah, these things could fly around in winter quite happily. And they've got the de-icing boots. So this will be certified to fly into ice, I'm sure, of some variety. Again, our actual pilots in the chat will be able to help out with that. Thank you guys for coming along. Oh yeah, we can get rid of some of those lights now. Right, so this plane, according to the manual, is installed with something fancy. So if I press out alert, it's going to capture that 10,000 because the outer light here shows me that it's near it, I suppose. So it should level off. Let's get rid of that taxi light. I'm going to leave the landing lights on because we're only going to stay at flight level 100. That can go off. I'm going to leave the pitot heat on because I do not want to forget that. And then once we're up there, we can accelerate. Right. There we go. We're onto that course bar. And we've got our needle, the RMI needle showing us. And we should see it level off now. So that outer alert's gone. The nose is lowering. Oh, people have had some issues with the internet. Okay, seems like the internet is sorted, so that's good stuff. Right, there we go, 10,000 feet. We are going to accelerate right up. We'll get that 4-hour arrival time down, I promise. It doesn't seem to have got the right leg. Yeah, so I'm going to have to change that. Alan Story, thank you very much for your £20 donation. Alan, that's far too kind. Thank you very much, Alan. Really appreciate it. I hope you're doing very well, and I hope your family's doing well. And thanks for coming along to another stream and supporting us yet again, Alan. Very kind of you. Alan says, another great stream, outstanding. I will need to replay this when I come to fly my Otter. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be much help, but yeah, please do enjoy the Twin Otter if you've got one, because it's actually a really pleasant add-on. I've enjoyed it a lot. But thank you so much, really kind donation, Alan, and thank you for coming along today and supporting the channel yet again. Yeah, you've done far too much already, but thank you, very kind. Okay, good news, the stream seems fine. Okay, this plane does fly 10,000 feet. Yeah, no problems. Nice efficient turboprop engines. They're at their best at sort of here and a bit up, these turboprops. So this airplane has the PT6. Actually, what I'm going to do is now I could press, if I press CDI, then this will just mark out what the nav box is doing in here. But if I leave it on VLOC, then it carries on acting like a VOR. And now I'm going to press nav, and it should, I'm hoping, fly along the VOR course bar that I've set there. And we're going to follow this VOR course bar for a long way out. But thank you very much, Alan. Really appreciate your donation. Very kind of you. And thank you so much for coming along to the stream today and supporting the channel. The Dragons Battle says Clyde at 6,000. Yes, it was supposed to be 6,000 feet, but we were in uncontrolled airspace by that point. So that's why we just, yeah, cheated. Oh, our first officer has to go. Well, thanks for coming along. And yeah, hopefully see you again in another stream. I want to fly this aeroplane a bit more, definitely. It's great fun. Matteo forced me to get this a little while back, and it's taken me a while to learn it and get to have some idea of even what I'm doing with the flight deck, but it's great fun to learn, so I'm really enjoying it. Beautiful to be up above the clouds. Yeah, absolutely lovely. So PT6, says Lauren V, are a pretty common turboprop and even used as APUs. Yeah, the PT6 famously reliable. We've used it on this channel before in the TBM, you guys will remember, as well as the King Air. But I don't think we've flown the King Air on stream. I don't think that's happened yet. Maybe in a future group flight. Oh, we're getting a... I don't know what system is giving us that warning. But anyway, I hope it's not right. We can see in front of us. In real aircraft, you'd have to follow that. But the databases are a lot more reliable, of course. What is going on? What is going on? This is getting a bit strange. I don't know what happened there. Let me bring up my Avitab. That was really odd. Has anyone ever seen that in X-Plane? And I'm going to find our flight plan. Here we go. Right, so we're now on this Lima 602 airway. We're going to follow this out effectively to Bruce, and then from Bruce to Tyree VOR. And let's find our minimum en route altitude. So 34, 33, 31. So we're safe as long as we're above 4,000 feet. We're safe for this whole flight. So very strange. PT6 also in the Caravan. Yes, of course, the Caravan. Crows and Moon says 700 kilograms block fuel. Yep, that's what we went with. Should be more than enough. Should be. We've got both tanks running in norm. I'm not entirely sure how the system works. But norm it doesn't seem to require much balancing. It seems to manage it itself, but I don't know how true that is. Brittany Silver, you're so kind when you receive a donation. Well, it's so kind of the people that you know choose to do it. So yeah, it's you guys who are being kind. Definitely. It's yeah, I really appreciate it. It makes such a difference. Here we go. Off we go in the cruise. So another fun thing. This airplane has flap-arons, as it were. So the ailerons should come down as part of the flaps, and they can be used accordingly. That's my understanding of it. But yeah, a nice visual model. You can see all the rivets. Got no complaints about the exterior. I wish I could find some other liveries for it, like the Maldives air taxi and the Flybe livery that it went under for a long time. sadly, it's a bit lacking in liveries, this aeroplane, so I don't know how many people have it, but yeah. Also, you'll notice we've got normal tyres. You actually get 3 versions, or 4 versions. You get the Tundra tyre option, you get the float option, and the ski option when you buy this. So, and by the way, guys, I bought this. It wasn't, this isn't a review copy or anything like that, or it wasn't sponsored, I promise. I'm just chatting about it. But yeah, so I thought this would be a Tundra tyres day, but actually it it looks like Loganair used the mini tyres, normal tyres. So there we go. So that's what we're going with. Right, I suppose we can bring up, let's see, our first officer said 75% is the lowest RPM. Oh, no, that's too low. Start to lose speed as well with that. Louisa Carlton, US $5 donation. Thank you very much, Louisa. Very kind. Thank you. And Louisa says, hello, learning VATSIM slowly but surely. Embarrassed myself by not keeping up with ATC at KBOS and didn't read back. Keep trying. Any tips? Thank you so much for your donation. Really appreciate it, Louisa. And thank you for coming along. So, it's difficult. Oh, I'll just answer. The weatherman says, I've sent you an ad on Discord. Got to dash now. I'll try to bob back for the landing. If you're planning on flying more, be happy to help. Thanks to Weatherman, another of our Twin Otter experts. Hopefully someone's around for the approach and landing. But yeah, thanks for coming along. And yeah, we'll be returning. We'll be landing in, well, not too long, and then we'll be heading back to Barra. So yeah, sorry, to Glasgow. The overlay isn't working. Let me just sort that out. Sorry guys, that's my mistake. I will answer Louisa in just a second. Sorry about that. That's first. Oh, it's been a little while since I've done that. So Louisa, so learning VATSIM, you know, it's tricky at the start, and it's something that I didn't really think about much. But the more I've been in the community of people learning flight sim, the more it's been clear that that is a big issue for a lot of people getting used to VATSIM. So do join the Discord. We have a little VATSIM section where lots of people talk about it, and they are willing. You know, we've got VATSIM controllers in there willing to help. We did a little event where we had people help out. My top tip is, if you're struggling with readbacks, is I write down everything I'm given by air traffic control. So first of all, if I'm busy flying the airplane, I will ignore it if I need to. So fly an airplane you're comfortable with, because that will free up some of your capacity. And then I have a pen and paper, obviously, and I write down everything they give me, everything, as it's said, because you see me streaming, and I often forget almost immediately. So I write it down, and then that way, hopefully, I write it down, read it back, and then I do it. So have pen and paper ready. Fly an airplane you're happy with. Maybe even fly a slower airplane. Sometimes that can help. Or if you're flying an airliner and you're finding it's happening too fast, slow down if you can, and sometimes air traffic control don't let you, but that's something we do in real aircraft. If we're having issues or we need to create some time, we'll just slow things down, especially in quieter airports. And obviously if you can fly in and out of quieter airports, that's going to help as well while you get more comfortable with it. KBOS, where's KBOS? Is that Boston? I don't know, I'm terrible with these codes. Eric, thank you very much for your NOC 88 donation. Really appreciate it. Eric says, if the Twin Otter is so great, why isn't there a Triple Otter? Well, thank you, Eric. Thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. And what you've enabled me to do is something really fun, which is I get to put out a Wikipedia fact for you. So this is a DHC6 Twin Otter, de Havilland Canada 6 Twin Otter. It replaces the DHC3 Otter, which was a single-engine piston aircraft. So there you go. So a Triple Otter could be the way of the future for de Havilland Canada. But of course they don't make it anymore. It's now made by Viking. Michael Jester, goodness me. Thank you very much, Michael, for your €28.71 donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you, Michael. That's incredibly generous. Again, you guys are being far too generous, as always. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, so kind. Michael, thank you for your donation. I don't really know what to say. It's amazing. Michael says, thank you for providing content for hours of procrastination from college work. So hopefully you can still get some work done even with these streams running. But I know I do talk a lot. But yeah, thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate it. Very generous and yeah, really kind. Thanks for being here and supporting the channel. Louisa Carlton, join the Discord, done and dusted. Fantastic, yeah. So there's a VATSIM help section and also Ask Real Pilot section. I might expand the VATSIM section because I know it's a big topic at the moment for people. But ask anything, any questions you have. Been flying a Cessna 152. Perfect, perfect. Vucci2 says, I first went on VATSIM and flew from busy airports to very quiet airports. Still haven't flown from busy to busy. Yeah, there you go. Good, it's good, great. Just mix it up. Roy Marks, thank you very much. Another very generous person. Roy Marks, £5 donation. Thank you. Roy says, I keep missing your live streams. How can I get advance notice of your stream? So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and then put on the notifications bell. So those are the first things that come to mind. The best way is to join my Discord. The link is in the description, or put !Discord into the chat and you'll get the invite. And if you do that, you'll be provided with an invite. And if you don't have Discord, then you can follow the invite and it will take you through and show you how to set it up. Because I didn't know what Discord was until... what happens? I don't know what that does. Maybe I shouldn't be clicking that in flight. Let's check, nothing's changed up here. So join the Discord, and I put out a little announcement, usually a day before the live streams. But as long as you're subscribed to the channel, you should see my community posts, where it will actually... I tend to post a community post before my stream as well. So yeah. But thank you very much for the donation. Really appreciate it. Thank you to Michael, Roy, Eric, Louisa, Alan, everyone. Very kind of you all. Andy sent me a link to Flybe livery. Fantastic, Andy. Thank you. I must have been looking. I got confused because this is the version 2. I didn't know if that would work with the version 1 livery, so we shall see. Oh, there you go. AC455, thanks for coming along. And AC455 says, to have it in Canada, technically still make the planes. Viking just owns them. There you go. Procrastinators rejoice. Bow Mao. Thanks for coming, Bow Mao. And yeah, absolutely. And once the stream is scheduled, you can set a reminder. Yeah, so I tend to... So the stream, if you check on my channel every now and then as well, I know that's a bit much to ask, but I will have it up there for sort of a day before, and you can click on it. So, Orbex scenery now as we come out over the islands. And one of the comments I've seen from YouTubers who've done this flight for real is how nice the scenery is for the whole flight. Really stunning. Thanks, Andy. Andy has a livery. Great to know. Guanari, thanks for coming along. Guanari says, is there an in-flight meal? No, definitely not. Definitely not. Actually, no, there is. I'm going to have a lemon tart, which sounds posh. It isn't. Right. That's us passing overhead. Oh, no, it's not. That needle's just come to life. Right. So we're going to Bruce. After Bruce, what's the plan? We carry on on the 297, and we're going to get all the way over to Tree. So this is all out of sequence now. It still wants us to go back to, it's going up because it wants us to go back to Glasgow. Everyone wish me luck, because I'm always convinced that every time I click anything in this, like that, I'm going to actually just delete all my progress. So we're going to Bruce. Menu. Activate leg. Look at that. So hopefully this time it will automatically sequence over Bruce. And now you'll see if I press GPS, and here, this swaps over to following the GPS route that we're planning on, and over it goes. Fantastic. The GTN 750 looks like quite a cool mod for this, says Felix. Yeah, is it? It's not included, I assume. I imagine you have to pay for it separately. Lauren V says, bring your own snacks kind of day. The Cakes Bakery at Barra better make plenty ahead. Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully they've got 285 cakes ready to go. Andy H1302 has been there, and Andy's got some great pictures on the Discord. If you guys want to join the Discord, you'll see some pictures of the actual place and the aircraft on the runway. And apparently the cakes are very good. It is Payware, that's Felix. Yeah, there you go. Richard V, hope you're doing well. Sorry if I didn't say hello earlier. But thanks for coming along and moderating, as always. Jeffrey says, what age do you recommend for a young pilot to start lessons? Well, it's going to depend on your country as to when you're allowed to do your lessons, really, or when you're allowed to start flying. But just getting exposure to aviation and showing you're keen is always a good thing. The airlines like that sort of stuff. So if you can do your lessons from when you're allowed to, if you're lucky enough to be in that position, then yeah, it's a great idea. but in the UK, it's sort of like you're looking at sort of 16, 17. Charlie wants haggis on the way to Barra. Haggis on the way to Barra, yeah. Paul B, good afternoon. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing very well. So what else have we got in here? So we got our little transponder. That was all pretty straightforward. Got our squawk. We can ident like that. And we're doing altitude reporting, flight level 101. We've got our radios up here. We can choose what we're listening to and transmitting on. Just to identify the DMEs. Maybe turn that up a bit. This is our radio 1, nav 1, radio 2, nav 2. I'm not really using the second one at the moment. And we can change the mode here so it can give us our course. So there you go, we're on the 297. Isn't that good? I really like that. Around the flight deck, we've got a radio altimeter, so 2,500 feet, we're above that. Willie Canuck, thank you very much for your £2 donation. Really appreciate it, Willie Canuck. Thank you so much. And what he says, love your content. Greetings from Sky Blue Radio. Greetings to you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for coming along. I hope you're doing very well, Willie. Arthur says, does X-Plane not have turbulence? X-Plane does have turbulence. But the weather today quite smooth, it seems. We're doing all right. Nice to get up above the clouds. We'll reduce the weather when we get closer. But yeah, thank you very much, Willie, for your donation. Really appreciate it. Mateo says, the 750 is payware, but oddly you cannot update the nav data unless you have it for the real 750. Oh, very strange. Ah, thanks, Richard. I did say hi at the start. There we go. Yeah, the start's always tricky these days with there's so many messages ready to go. Andy says, I used to love the cakes in the cafe. Mick and Sharon used to look after me when I took the coach in. Pax loved seeing the Otter land on the beach. Yeah, I bet they did. That must be great fun. Again, doing all this in Flight Simulator and X-Plane is great because I just can't wait for the world to open up and then go and do this sort of stuff again. There we go, some nice gaps in the cloud. Canary, sorry to hear about your medical reasons for not being able to be a pilot. That is a shame, and it's one of the yeah, it's a sad part of life. But I'm glad you get to enjoy flight simulation, and yeah, that's great. Sadly, no real procedures for you today. I promise that. But yeah, sorry to hear it. But it's one of those things. Yeah, but it's great that we get to see so much of it with flight simulator. That is for sure. I mean, I love dipping my toes into all these different parts, trying out these new aeroplanes. The only problem I have with the aeroplanes is just learning them all. I'm not as good as some of you guys at learning so many different aeroplanes, so it takes me ages, and I haven't flown the A300 in a while, and I'm getting a bit worried. I really, really, really want to fly the A300 Beluga when it comes out for X-Plane. I can't wait. That's really exciting, but I don't know what the flight deck looks like. I imagine it looks a bit similar to the A300 we have, and yeah, I'm going to have to do a bit of studying for that one again. James says, do you ever fly G8 in real life? Sadly not. No, I hope to. The problem is, G8 is quite expensive. So you need to be able to get if you have all the right conditions and you got friends or shares in an airplane, things like that. That's the way to do it. But yeah, I haven't so far. It's certainly one of those things that sort of slipped by the wayside. Plus, pre-pandemic, we were doing a lot of flying. So you do get your fill of flying. Charlie says, do you think Barrett will come to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020? Well, if it isn't in there, I'm sure someone will add it. I'm hoping some people can do it as freeware. The Harmony says, any funny moments you've experienced on 1215? Yeah, you hear all sorts of things on 1215. I'm getting some serious frame rate drops. Yeah, so I've had some I mean, there's all sorts of things you hear on 1215, and some of it's not very interesting. It's just happens to be what people are doing, messing around on the radios. There is sometimes, if some event happens, you might hear people talking about news over it just very briefly. But 1215 is the emergency frequency, not really a discussion frequency. So it's rare. I remember I once saw a huge meteorite flash in the sky. Sometimes you see those. We see shooting stars quite regularly, but this was a really big one, lit up the whole sky in the middle of the night, which got a few people talking, as you can imagine. Caught a few people by surprise. Willie Canuck says, are you primarily in the 320? I am indeed. Ben Moore, thank you very much for your £5 donation. Very kind of you, Ben. Really appreciate it. Ben says, love your vids. Can I ask why you would choose an RNAV approach over an ILS or VOR, or vice versa, and what your favourite would be and why? An ILS will be my favourite approach because it's the most accurate. It uses external radio transmitters, and it can land the airplane. The airplane can land itself. So it's the highest level of approach, the highest precision. RNAV approaches are becoming more and more popular because for an RNAV approach, you don't need a VOR or an ILS on the ground, so they're cheaper. The other magic of an RNAV approach is you can make it fit through a valley, you can make it do anything. Whereas if you're trying to fly an approach based off a VOR, it usually has to be a straight line with some sort of descent angle. RNAV approaches as well will have the coding for the altitudes, so RNAVs are becoming very popular, and we'll see less and less VORs and NDB approaches because an RNAV just needs an airplane to have the navigation equipment on board, which airliners often do. Yeah, you would choose. Why would you choose an RNAV over an ILS? Well, in an airport that can't fit an ILS very easily, the classic example being Innsbruck, landing in through that western valley to land in on the easterly runway. The RNAV approach can be designed purely based on points in space, and they can just make it up and draw a line all the way down to the runway, and it's great. And then you can just follow that. So yeah, that's where an ILS is no good. So it's usually terrain related. But in perfect conditions with no terrain, an ILS is going to be your most accurate way to the ground. Nice weather out here over the islands. Lovely. But yeah, thank you very much, Ben, for your donation. Really appreciate it. Andy says, isn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 better for a chat? Exactly, yeah, exactly. That's what people use that for more likely. Carosa Moon, yeah, 1215 is the guard frequency, exactly. Anything's possible, Willie. Anything's possible. But we'll leave it at that. Jeffrey, I like X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator. I like them both. And I'll be using them both. Lots of great airplanes in X-Plane. And some nice scenery if you have the right parts. This is Orbex, Scotland, and it's really nice. Victor Tango, I'm really enjoying the Twin Otter. I really like it. It's quite lively, so I should probably tune down the sensitivity on my joystick. It's very responsive. Dougal would like to hear the PT6s, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying this add-on. Really nice little aeroplane. One thing that's modelled really nicely is in an airplane like this, or in fact in pretty much all airplanes, when you start a turn, the airplane will, if you then let go of the controls, the airplane will continue to bank over. So if I was to bank to the right, it would keep banking because you get this continuous roll effect, because the inside wing will actually be going slightly slower through the air than the outside wing, so the outside wing starts to get more lift, so it starts to go up. And that is really well modelled in this airplane, which when you're at slow speed with a lot of flap out and you start doing tight turns, you really notice it. Conor Rai says, I have seen a video where they displayed a demo of a new system in general aviation, the emergency auto-land system. It can automatically land using the RNAV approach. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I wouldn't be surprised to see RNAV approaches become auto-land capable in the future, because why not? The airplanes can all do it now. They know where they are so accurately. It's incredible. It will just be a lot of paperwork and certifying, and they'll have to figure out all the ways it could go wrong, of course, before they let that happen. Right, we're heading up to... let me get the name right. Tiri 1170. So actually, we could have that set already. Wonder what happened. So I've got it. Let's swap it over. So that's 1170. We've got the same course bar, still pointing towards. And the only thing that should change is our VOR should point towards it now. Nope, doesn't seem to find it. I would expect our RMI to point forwards now. Still pointing backwards at the gal. There we go. Not sure. Oh, I know. Let's put that back. That's on GPS. Let's put it to VOR lock. See if that improves the situation. Ah, it's not active. There we go. That's why. 1177. That's why. There we go. We'll fix this. Right, now the needle spins round. There we go, pointing towards it. And you'll see that we happen to be lined up with it because this airway is based off these two VORs. Quite an old-fashioned sort of airway. But anyway, we'll put that back to GPS and let the airplane carry on quite happily. Okay, so time to start thinking about our approach, I suppose. Looks like we're getting there. We bring out that range a bit. There's the arrival. Now the weather looks good enough that we'll just do a visual. So that's pretty good news. We're at 10,000 feet, so we need 30 miles to descend. So that's no problem. The question is, what is the weather? I'm going to assume it was very similar to how it was in Glasgow, i.e. an easterly breeze, because there doesn't seem to be an ATIS available. I can't see any controllers online. Nope, we've got Glasgow and Edinburgh, but that's it. So, close out Glasgow for now. We will be going back after this though. EGPR. Here it is. Yeah, unusually, there's just nothing, no weather. Grows the Moon says, for knowledge, we're on radial 300 to the VOR on a bearing of 120. No, we are on the... We're not quite on 300. We should be on like the 297. But say we were on the 300. So we were on the 300, or we were on the 297 radial from the GAO. Yeah, when we were pointing away. So we were on the same course as our radial. Now we are pointing towards the Tiri VOR in front of us. So I'm now pointing towards it. So I'm still tracking the same course, 297, but I'm on the 117 radial, if that makes sense. This is live weather, Kyonai. Yeah, this is live weather. Klaus, thank you very much, Klaus, for your 45 Danish krona donation. Really appreciate it. Klaus says, simply the best way to start the evening after a long day at work. I just love your streams. That's great, Klaus. Really kind. I'm really glad to hear it. It does, yeah, warms my heart that people enjoy these so much, because I absolutely love coming along and chatting with you guys about airplanes and flying around something, especially when you guys, let me fly something different. Here's Tiri, so obviously an airport. Quite often VORs have airports with them, or they used to be sites of airports. So, for example, Ockham VOR in London is on an old disused airfield because they tend to be beacons that you can then fly towards to find your way home. All back scenery looking nice. But yeah, thank you very much, Klaus. Really appreciate your donation. And thank you for your kind words. It means the world to me, yeah. And you can usually you can see the VOR. They do stand out. They're always round with sort of orange balls on them. Could be that. Bit tricky to say. They're usually near the runway so that they can be used for approaches. A VOR sort of over here wouldn't be as much use compared to one sort of next to the runway. Lovely weather. This is great. But yeah, thank you, Klaus. Grocer Moon says my numbers weren't too far. No, not at all. Yeah, excellent. I'm glad it's making sense. Jeffrey says, do you prefer a yoke or joystick, Boeing or Airbus? I prefer a joystick / side stick in terms of sitting in an airplane all day, because the magic of that is I have space to sort of do paperwork, eat food and so on. So it makes life very civilized. So I would say I do. Not to say, I'd love to fly Boeing as well. But yeah, there's our aircraft carrier. Andy, thank you. Andy says, nearest METAR available is Benmacular. It says wind 6 knots from northeast, temperature 1018. I want to take a note of that. We'll be able to check that QNH with the radio altimeter. Now, is this working? We are on GPS. Yeah, so it should spin around. We get a message. Set course to 333. Let's do that. Oh, we weren't in nav. Yeah, that's the problem without having FMAs. Yeah, we were not flying in nav, so no wonder it didn't work. Let's go back to... Don't need the message page. Right, now it's going to whiz over there and regain that. Yeah, I was thinking, shouldn't it be turning right over this airport? There we go. Mateo says, if you use Shift +6 external view instead of the Shift 8, you can then move the camera away from the plane to look around. I find it very useful for screenshots also. Ah, there we go. Very cool. And there's Turi. Lovely, beautiful beaches up here in Scotland. Really stunning. Look at all the sandy beaches. This is another place now I feel like worth visiting. Look at that. That must be a really nice place to be. Glorious. Fly Guy, hello to you. Thanks for coming along. That is a bit of a tight turn for an aircraft carrier. Yeah, I agree. Okay, everyone says QNH 1018. Let me convert that. QNH 1018 should be 3006. Okay, so track miles is how many miles until we think we are going to land. So, as you can see, I've got here 147 ground speed. That's not it. What am I looking for? Distance, 30 miles. So it's 30 miles to go until I reach my destination, EGPR. Now, if we were going to go and fly an approach, for example, the RNAV, it might take me all the way around the top and back round and in. It's quite a long approach, and I'm not going to do it just for the fun of it, because it can do it, but yeah, we won't bother. But what we do need to do is descend. But I'm going to descend a bit late and fly a circuit overhead. So how many miles am I going to fly? So if I was flying straight in, I have 29 track miles left to go. If I was going to land in the opposite way, which we are, we're going to come in sort of this way to land in on 07. Then I'm going to need... I've got a bit more track miles, maybe another 10. So that would be, instead of 28, I'd have 38 track miles. And that's what I will use to base my descent on. So it's not just a straight line distance. If you're not sure, though, base it on your straight line so you're ready. As long as it's sort of safe to do so. Set course to 333. Okay. So we have it set there. We are to the right, but I assume it's trying to intercept sort of gradually. Could put it into heading. Anyway, so what's the plan for landing? Well, given that wind, there's no arrivals. There are some approaches, like I say, but they're really long. It would obviously either do the 1.5, but what I'm going to do is do a visual. And it looks like landing on 07. But I don't know, to be honest, if they use 07 much, given that it's got the terrain underneath it on approach. So I am tempted to sort of land on 1.5. I've seen a lot of videos of that. And the magic of 1.5 is there's these little stars. So these are runway markers. Oh, the weatherman says, just a little otterism, flap 20 for landing based on your takeoff weight VRF should be about 80 knots. Okay, perfect. Flap 20 for 80. Let's give it a go. Right, let's start down. So we know 4,000 feet is safe for the whole way. So if I put 4,000 in there, I'm going to re-engage nav mode. It should take us straight there. And then if I select... Actually, I'm going to slow down a bit first for the descent. And then if I hit IS and reduce power, the nose will drop. Down we go. Let's increase that RPM a bit for the approach. And if you have higher RPM, you'll get more drag, and you'll see actually we're going to get a really fast descent rate. So I'm going to keep a bit of power on for the descent. With the ground speed of 137, my descent rate for 3 degrees is going to be 1,200 feet per minute. Sorry, what am I talking about? Absolute nonsense. It's going to be half of that, so it's going to be 700 feet per minute. And you can see we're doing more than that, so leave a little bit of power on. So yeah, so you got these markers, so you can line up. I'm going to land on 1.5 over the marker, so to the right of these. Or did they? Yeah, we'll do a flyover, Kunarai. We'll definitely do a flyover. Jeffrey says, would you prefer the 350 or the 320? I'd love to fly the 350. Victor Tango, no problem. Yeah, I'm sure the video I watched, they did a visual and they came in over the sea here and then they came in and landed like that onto 07. So maybe we'll try that. Sort of do a downwind and in. We'll see what happens. We can always go around and try again. Why not? We're going to start to see it on the notes. That's the beach, I'm pretty sure. So, 1,000-foot circuit, and then we'll try and judge it. Anyway, got the sand, you got these nice little asterisks which are markers, so you can point at them. So for example, landing on 1-1, maybe we'll land on 1-1, that could be the best compromise. So straight in, over this, there's a little beach here, straight in, 1-1, wind will be from the left, but then you point at this little marker here which lines out the runway, because there's no markings in the ground or anything like that. It's pretty cool. And then we will roll out to taxi back up. They recommend, if you look down here, the landings and takeoff areas may be considerably ridged, which could be a potential hazard. So yeah, could be nasty. Downdrafts may be experienced at the western end of 0725 in strong wind from the west, but thankfully it's coming from the east today. And there could be people wandering around the runway, trying to do cockling, picking up those little shells. So we need to be careful. I haven't done, Brianny, I haven't done the flight training in Microsoft Flight Simulator with the Cessna. I haven't tried it actually, I must admit. Fuji2 says, good job you had a bit of touch and go practice at EGHH. Yeah, I did touch and goes flying this aeroplane in that little VATSIM practice session we ran. So there is an NDB available here. It's the 316, which is there. So I'm going to set VR1 to ADF now. Get rid of VR2. ADF 316. Well, that's not working. What have I done wrong there? Ah, there we go. Right, let's forget all this. Let's put it into heading. It's getting too complicated. Yeah, so now that 331, that needle there is pointing straight at the NDB, the 316 NDB. Yeah, not a long flight. This must be good fun to do in real life. But yeah, so I joined in that sim practice session. Let's put that taxi light on, ready for the landing. Or if we get it. And did some touch and goes. It was really windy that day. It was really windy. So, current plan then. We're going to land on 1-1, I think. I know it's the shortest one, but it slows down pretty well. We'll see how it goes. We can always go around and try again. And let's put the course of 105. So I'm going to set my course bar, not my heading bug. I get that wrong every time. Right. 09 105. So we can use that as our reference. And then we got the needle will be pointless for us. It's not going to do anything. But yeah, it just gives us an idea. The NDB is located. Let me find it for you guys. It's just off to the northwest. Not sure if it's shown on this chart. There we go. Mateo says, when I was there, we spent 1 hour gathering cockles on the airport beach, had the most local of dinners. Fantastic, Mateo. Yeah, excellent. Of course, Mateo being up in Edinburgh has had a go to do this as well. Thanks for coming along, Mateo. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for moderating. Charlie says, what sim hardware do you suggest to buy first? Well, just make sure you have a joystick of some variety. That's and if you can get one you need one with a throttle adjustment, but most of them do have that. Yeah, and that's the place to start, really. That's all you need. Rudder pedals. Oh yeah, if you get a joystick, make sure you can do twisting on it for the rudder as well. That is pretty much a requirement. And that will be good to go. I flew flight simulators like that for my entire childhood without anything else. Weatherman says, if you're using 1.1, use flaps 37. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. That's what I was expecting, a bit more flap. So this being a turboprop, something it does do is you'll see that our nose is right down. We're down at minus, what's that, minus 2.5, 3 or 4 degrees, just in a gentle descent with power on. So if I took the power off, that nose would drop really fast. And it's going to be the same for landing. We'll come in a little bit nose low, and then it's just about trying to get that nose up so we don't nose wheel in. Wheelbarrow, it's called. Oh, there we go. Explains their lift generating sort of effects. Mateo went on a camper van trip. So I assume you have to take a ferry then. Which must be what Andy was doing as well, taking a ferry over here instead of flying. Ubizon says, the PC-12 has the same weird nose-down approach attitude. Yeah, it's quite common in turboprops, yeah. Especially with more flap out, obviously. The Weatherman says, with full flap, you end up about 15 degrees nose down. Feels like a top of a roller coaster. Yeah, I did have a practice. The thing I struggle with this airplane is when I put the flap out, it's just trying to keep the airspeed, because the speed seems to wash off faster than you can get the nose down. One of the reasons it has such good, or the reason the flaps are so effective, and it helps it with its short takeoff landing performance is, can you see it from here? They're double slotted flaps. So there's 2 slots in them, which is quite advanced for such a small airplane, quite rare to see. Most airliners aren't double slotted. The 320 has a single slotted flaps, and the 321 has double slotted. But yeah, these days airliners are going more in a single slotted approach. They seem to have been able to make the flaps more efficient with just one single slot. But the older style, for example, the 747-400, had huge, great triple slotted flaps, I think. Angel Rodriguez, thanks for coming along. No worries about missing streams. It's there's plenty more to go. Yeah, we've gone through 4,000. Great point. So the reason that's happened is, if you look, you have to actually press this out alert to make it level off. If I press out now, it should, I think, just go to 0. I don't think it will climb back up. No, there we go. Should stay level. So we have to add a bit of power. Anyway. We're going to go into the circuit now, so let's set that QNH, which we should have set already. So let's keep that descent going, nice and visually. Let's go down to, we'll do 1100 for now. Ah yes, reduce the power. And we're going to put in that 3006. So hard to see. Somewhere there. And the radio altimeter should come alive as we go. Any second, actually. That will confirm that QNH is right. Because we're over the water. We're a bit high, really. Let's get that power off. Okay, so coming in then. Circa 1500. There you go. Let's do 1500 then. and then I'll press out alert and it should level off for us. And you'll see this radio altimeter has come to life. Great stuff. So what else we got on the checklist? Oh, didn't do that. Right, fuel quantity check set, hydraulic pressure check, caution lights check, de-ice is required, altimeter signs, landing lights, yeah, all done. Next one after landing. So, here we go. Let's see if we can work this one out. Barra traffic, Logan 251, joining the overhead to land, runway 11 with a left-hand pattern. There we go. Right, with low power, it seems a little bit easier to handle. I think we're going to be a little bit high for this this sort of visual maneuver. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. So 1-1, I think, is from here, and we go along the grass, and then there's a marker there, and there's another marker there. So that's the 1-1 marker. To show you what I'm talking about, there's those two markers. So we want to land just here, and there is a little signpost down there, and then we're going to roll out towards that marker. So I think it's time to do things a bit more visually. So let's take out the autopilot, which is now off. Get those prop RPMs up for landing. That will give us the best power, I hope, in the event we need it. Get the speed back below 100 knots, and I'm going to descend down to 1,000 feet. And I can see on my course bar that we're going to go straight through sort of the overhead at 90 degrees. Wind is from the east, so it's pushing us slightly to the left. There's 1,500 feet. Runway all looks clear. There's the little cafe. There's the little markers. Brilliant. Love it. Right, I have got trim finally set up on this joystick. I had to abandon my VATSIM button. As you guys saw in my last stream, I made a big mess of that. So there's about 1100. So power, attitude, and trim. Let's get flaps to 10. And as soon as I do that, the nose will come down, obviously, because it's going to push that tail down a bit. And you see that speed washing off. So you've got to keep that power on. Let's go to 20. Keep the power. Too much of a turn there. Far too tight. Right. So this is the balancing act. And I'm going to land at about 75 knots with about 35 or 30. I think I'm going to go 30 a flap just because that's what I practiced. Let's bring it round. Here we go then. 85 knots seems okay. Just checking my notes for what else I probably missed. Don't descend too fast. So ground speed is 92 knots. So 450 feet per minute would be 3 degrees. Don't really want to get any slower for now. There's the airport. A little bit high. Let's get the power off. Let's get the last of the flap out. So flaps to 30. Now I've got to push that nose down to keep that speed from dropping below 75. This could be a bit high for this. Let's see what happens. That looks very high. But turboprops can just dive down. Oh, moving to sit on my rudder pedals there. Keep that speed coming back. So there's 0. That's not quite right, is it? Can't see the marker. Where's that marker gone? There it is, just in front of us. That's good. So we'll keep aiming towards that. Now the nose is really low, so power back, raise the nose, raise the nose, raise the nose. There we go, down. Not sure they'd use reverser on the sand, sorry. But that's it. It comes to a stop easily, easily. Oh, no, too much. And there should be another marker over there. Yes, there is. Good, I think we landed on the right runway. This does have a beta range indeed. So there we go. Fantastic. Great fun. Great fun. Right, let's get ourselves back over to the little terminal. Yeah, I'm not sure they'd use reverse on the sand. Quite draggy though. Oh, we're not moving. Come on, aeroplane, you can do it. Taking a bit of thrust here. Yeah, we are there now. And yeah, what we're going to do is go park up, and then we will have another go. I'm not sure how good that landing was. We have to do a bit more practice on these Twin Otter landings. I think we're probably a bit nose low still, but we'll do a little replay in a second. Yeah, careful with the engines or there won't be any beach left. Absolutely. So after landing, let's bring up those flaps. Get that bleed air off. De-icing was off. I suppose we can put the pitot heat off as well. Landing lights can go off. And strobe off. That was all up here. And transponder off. Yeah, good point. That can go off. Reset the trim. It's going to be a bit more nose forwards. Okay, good stuff. Right, I think we're pretty much there. There's the shutdown procedure, so we'll use that in a second. So let's go and taxi right up to the terminal. 254 feet per minute, says Kai. There you go. The sand is pretty much always wet because of the tide, and it's extremely compact because practically 50% of the mass is made of broken cockle shells. There you go. I was wondering how they knew it would always be safe to land on. So there's these little runway markers. Yeah, so I can guarantee that was too flat. Should have kept putting back more. And there's a Logan 455 over there. Fantastic. Thank you for the subscriptions. Streamlabs might get a bit excited now and just mention loads at once. But yeah, thank you all very much. Let's go park up opposite to our colleague. Let's see if we can get a better landing out of it up in Glasgow. Oh my goodness. Right, I'm going to have to turn off the Streamlabs bot because of all those subscriptions. I do apologise, everyone. Stand by. It's such a shame when it does this. So the alert box is going to be off for a minute until that's fixed. Right. There we go. So let's stop. Set the parking brake. Radios can go off. And off. Power levers idle. They are at idle. Prop levers feather. Which will make them go coarse, which is what you do in flight if you needed to. Generators can come off. Oh. Yeah, off and off. Fuel levers off. I don't find this particularly intuitive, this system that they've got for these. There you go, fuel levers off. Boost pumps off. They were down here. Lights off all. External battery switch off. And DC master off. There we go. Shutting down. So we'll let our passengers hop out and go look for some cake and some of the shells. Get rid of that checklist. So welcome all to Barra. I hope you enjoyed the flight. Yeah, good bit of fun. The scenery isn't... I've just got the scenery from... Orbex, it just was included. I haven't got special airport scenery for it. Yeah, the subscriptions. I do apologise for the the alerts there, but thank you all for subscribing. And I'm sorry if it should give me the subscriptions as we go, and I could say welcome, but sadly it doesn't seem to work very well at the moment. So there we go. Right, and let us move on. Then we're going to go back to Glasgow. So, first of all, let me disconnect from VATSIM. I will rejoin VATSIM shortly. I'm going to disconnect. Then we can do our little replay and find out. I suspect we came in on the... I think that looked like a bit of a flat landing to me. So here we go. Over the beach. Pointing at that marker. Get that nose up, nose up. Oh, I think we got away with it. I think we got away with it. That seems all right. Checkpoint, thanks for coming along. And yeah, a nice little break here. So, yeah, let's see if we can get a run of the runway views for that. I don't know if it's going to be... Ed says, great landing, but should be slightly more nose high. Should almost hear stall warning. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not used to the stall warners these days, but that's good to know. I think it worked out all right. Yeah, thanks. AC4455, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well, and thank you so much. We'll see you again next time. Nice positive landing rate. Yeah, the landing rate, I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced. It didn't look like the most shocking landing rate I've ever seen, but yeah, there we go. Right, let me get Streamlabs awake again. I think it's stopped complaining. And let's see if we can get the view, runway view. Yes, we can. Fantastic. Favorite view. So here we go. Right over the car park. Oof, just about. Just about main wheels first. Arthur says, so this is a bad landing then? I don't think it was too bad. But definitely flat. Definitely a bit flat. Could have got that nose up more. That's what we needed to do. Stops like on an instant. I suppose the drag from the water and so on would make a huge difference. And what we can, nice and easily in this add-on, it's quite good fun. We can go and look in the cabin at that. Enjoy the scenery a little bit. I won't play the music, of course, but what I can do is zoom back into the cabin. I find it lands very flat, says Matteo. You really need to slow down more than you'd expect. Yeah, there you go. Lesson learned. We can't sort of zoom out anymore, sadly. Here we go, coming in. Yeah, Matamot says, was on Barra on holiday shortly before a plane took off in Barra. They had to get people off the runways. It's just a normal beach. Yeah, fantastic. So there we go, in over the beach, onto the sand, into the flare, touchdown. So the reason I'm talking about the overlay you see keeps giving that touchdown rate. Now, you know, we all say that, you know, the touchdown rate doesn't matter too much, but I am going to make one excuse for that. The overlay I use, the Fly Live sort of overlay, it really prefers you to float. And what happens is if you don't float enough, it records sort of the feet per minute from a few seconds ago. It is a slight lag in it, so it's one of those funny things where it can. I've noticed that, yeah, if you float along, it will always get a nice smooth touchdown recording, which isn't always how it works in real life. But there we go. Anyway, so good fun. Yeah, we made it. So thank you all for coming along. And now I'm going to set up the flight plan for the return. We'll take a little bit of a break. So I'm just going to start a break, and I'm going to set up a few things, and then we'll get going for our way back. So it's time for our music, of course. Let me set up the timer, which is going to be in just a few minutes. And I can do the flight plans and so on. The route back will be basically the same. We're going to go to Tyre and then Bruce and back to Glasgow. Okay, guys. So quick 5-minute break. You stretch your legs, enjoy the seashells and the airports, and we'll see you very soon. Hello everyone, welcome back. Sorry about that, the timer was supposed to appear, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be set up on this one. But here we are then on the ground with our colleague, another Logan over there. So this is a fleet sort of day. Thank you all for sticking with us. Yeah, we're going to fly back now. So yeah, you'll get to see all of that, those of you who've stuck around. We'll go and have another practice at landing this, but yeah, as we saw, Twin Otter, interesting. That real nose down attitude. But we just about got away with it, just about got the main wheels in first. So, yeah, has anyone found some good seashells? Those of you who are going back in the hold will need to enjoy those for the flight back. So, let's get ourselves powered up and get underway. We won't spend too much time fiddling around the way back because I know you guys have seen it, so I won't spend too long wasting your time, but I don't know what they would do. They'd probably have a different checklist for this part of the flight, so the transit checklist. So control locks are off, parking brake is set still, handles are in, emergency fuel switch is normal, emergency pumps are off, fuel selector is normal, boost pumps are off, we turn them off on the way in, static source normal, vent fan off, inverter switch 1 or 2, doesn't seem to be modelled, de-icing switch off, cabin lighting and signs are on. I think the beacon, we left that beacon on. In the end, anti-collision on. There we go, we'll leave all those on. Bleed air switches off, yep. Pitot heat off, it is indeed. Generator switches off, they are. Bus tie to normal, it is. Flap handle up, it is. Propeller levers full forwards, right. Oh, there you go, something to do. Because we feathered them. Now here's a question, does it show that outside? They don't look. That one does look feathered. That one's feathered, so that's a feathered propeller, and that's obviously not feathered. So that one is going to windmill, whereas that one probably shouldn't. So funnily enough, I would expect the opposite. Although I suppose if you're across the wind, given the way the wind's blowing and so on, it's possible it could spin even when feathered. But yeah, there we go. Interesting. So anyway, one feathered and one didn't when we came in. Not sure why, but let's get that to forward. There we go. Sorry, checkpoint. Yeah, it was a bit less than 5 minutes. A bit less than that. Sorry about that. Alan says, if you need the inverter switches, they are on the small panel to the right of the main overhead panel. They have a number 5 on them. Ah. I've searched and searched. That's the fans. There's the strobe lights. There we go. So that'd be the sort of normal ones we're used to. I've searched and searched and searched. One day I will find them. One day. Right, I mean, they could be there right now on the screen. I spent so long looking, I guarantee I'll miss them. So, anyway, inverters, the icing switch, cabin lights, beacon, bleed air, pitot we've done, generator switches are off, bus tie switch normal, flaps up, fuel levers off, propeller levers full forwards, so those are off, those are full forwards, windshield heat and wipers off, landing lights off, ignition switch to normal, DC master on battery, let's power up, and battery. Bus voltage check. We've got good bus voltage down there. Caution lights test. So we can run that again. I don't know if you'd need to, but I suppose after every power on, it's probably a good idea. There we go. Caution lights tested. Fire detection test. Yeah, that's always worth testing. We'd like our fire detection to work. And now, thanks to our knowledgeable people, look at that. It works. There we go. Right, that's done. Fire bell mute checked. Fuel quantity check. Yeah, there we go. That's why we do a checklist. Do we have enough fuel? Well, we need 800 kilos to go back as well. I've got a new flight plan for this one. And it's not here. Get rid of that. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Oh, disaster. Hold on, guys. I do have it. I know what I need to do. That was the one thing I was meant to do while I was away. So I do apologise for this. Lutato says, is this plane for Microsoft Flight Simulator or X-Plane? This is for X-Plane. You can get it on X-Plane All Store. Conor says, I need to add some weight for the snacks. Yeah, we add some weights. Okay, sim brief. Let me swap flights. That one, load. I'm really sorry. This is really bad. This was supposed to all be done, and I thought it was, but obviously it was not. So I'm going to generate a nice OFP for us here. The flight plan is filed. I promise I managed to do at least one thing. About the same flight time for the way back, 1 hour. Here we go. Okay, good stuff. Right, that's now in. And in a Navigraph, I'm going to bring it up. There we go. Good news. So we're going to take off, and basically we're going to go direct to Tyre, I think Tyre, but I don't know. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Okay. There it is. As you'll see, 800 kilos required because the alternate is Manchester, which is, again, further than our destination. So all we need is 800 kilos of fuel. Fantastic. It's easy to burn more than that taxiing out in the Airbus. Not easy, perhaps. On a bad day. That would be a very bad day. So we need 800 kilos, so let's get that fuel on. Add a passenger for the extra weight of all your snacks. Fuel. How much have we got then? We've got 600 in there at the moment. Trying to keep that CG in the middle there. 800 should be plenty, especially with that alternate. Good stuff. You can see the plane creaking as soon as we added it. Right, shouldn't have done that. Bring the checklist back up. So, fuel quantity we've checked. It's down here. Have we got the same amount as before? Yeah, 400 plus 1,000. So that's 1,400. Yeah, so that looks good. Right, engine start. Fuel levers are off. Prop levers full forwards. Power levers idle. Boost pump forward and aft on. On they come. Tyre is pronounced like Thai. There we go. I got it completely wrong. Thanks, Matteo. Thai. Right, boost pump switches on. Start switch engine right. So let's fire them up. Is it all clear around? The doors are closed. We've got all the passengers on board. Looks good to me. Start the right engine. Get the fuel on. Oh, please. There we go. And up to life it comes. Okay, right, let's start the left engine. Off to the left. Starts whizzing round. You can even see the RPM start to come to life. Give it some fuel. It's all happening. Love the dust behind. That's quite a nice effect in X-Plane. And we're going to take off on the... actually, we can take off on the even more easterly runway, 07. Right, and that, as you can see from our windsock over there, that'll be just right. Also, I've noticed that our QNH was correct, luckily. Start switches, fuel levers are on, generator left and right on. Let's get those generators online. So, again, the manual said reset on, reset on. Set the trim tabs, and that's set. Flaps to 10. So you can see it up there, but yeah, the indicator's just neatly tucked away on the center sort of bar there. It's quite fun. I quite like that. Okay. Flaps, flight instruments checked, Navcom radios checked and set. Let's do it. In the Airbus, we leave all of these just on, and then they just come to life when the airplane turns on. Again, no good when you're running. Oh, the brakes are hot. Look at that. How cool. I didn't know it had that. That's really fancy. I mean, the plane I flew did not give me the brake temperatures when I was flying a turboprop. I'm really impressed to see it here. I suppose they are relatively small brakes for what could be quite a heavy airplane. But yeah, we really worked them, it seems. How interesting. Right, so anyway, flaps 10, flight instruments checked, navcom radios. So we're going to take off. We're going to go to Thai. There we go. I should have said it wrong. So, oh, it saved the last one. Get rid of that one. Okay. Oh, actually, I probably wanted that. Can I just get rid of the flight plan? Delete flight plan. Right, there we go. So, E, G. I'm really sorry to everyone watching. P. This is awful. R, because this is horrible to have to do by hand anyway. Right, and then we're going to go to Thai. Oh, no, wrong way. There it is. No. Hey. Enter. Thank you. The UK one, yes please. And then from there, we go to Bruce, using that airway. Now, I would imagine people who fly this have the option to do this before starting up the engines, because this is a complete waste of fuel. Alternatively, it may well just be saved in here. And as we see, we don't actually need it. There we go. Bruce. And then Glasgow. So this is the flight plan for those of you, if anyone wants to fly back with us. Oh. Oh dear. I maintain my thoughts on this system. Again, in real life, probably quite good. There it is. And compact. But slightly difficult to use in a simulator when there's just a few pixels between selecting one of those tiles. But there's a bit of a route. So we're going to take off and head over to... that's not right. So we've got 2 waypoints to start off with. Anyway, we're going to go to TIR, which is tuned 1177. It's got a flag because it can't pick up the signal because we're too far away. But we're going to get into the air and then make our right turn towards it. That'll do. That's close enough. Right, let's get rid of that. Okay, so we're going to climb up to... We're climbing to 9,000 feet for the way back. An odd flight level, of course. There it is. Right. Engine instruments checked. Now, funnily enough, the oil still seems to sit in that amper. If I increase power, I can't seem to get it into the green, so I don't know. Don't know why that is, but still, there we go. Flight instruments, navcom, prop levers, engine instruments, bleed air left and right. Let's get the bleed air on. And I'm going to put on that pitot heat. I definitely want that on. De-ice as required. Good stuff. Next one after takeoff. Icon in front looks like they haven't started up yet. Right, just jumping quickly into the chat. Thanks all for coming along for the second leg. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, which screen capture software are you using? I'm using OBS. I use OBS and Streamlabs OBS for this stream. Yeah, that's what I use. Yeah, we did lose some passengers. Obviously, people wanted to go to Barra. Right, there we go then. Let's announce it. And Barra traffic, Logan 252 departing to the south. Oh, probably not what you need to say. But there we go. Plugins. Avitab. And just to show you guys what we're doing, of course, I think we can take off on 07. So we'll just make our right turn and then head off on this sand runway here. Right. It's all clear around. Flight controls are all working nicely. Brakes are released. Off we go. Once we're pointing away from our colleague, I'll turn on those landing lights. So in theory, 07 is sort of straight in front of us here. Landing lights can go on. Just going to get myself away from the terminal. Oil temp is always in the amber when I fly it too. It says Bacon Warrior. Thanks. Yeah, there we go. Right. So 75 knots for the climb. Sorry, 75 knots to rotate. 90 knots for the climb. And away we go. 07. Okay, let's go. Let's take off. "75 knots. Up we go. Positive climb. Gear up, if only. It does go when it gets in the air. Right, so trimming for sort of 90 knots. Oh, still trying to do its right turn trick. It always seems to need more up trim than I'm allowed to set for takeoff, but there we go. 400 feet, flaps to 0. Still trying to do its, right turn. And I'm going to set this, make our right turn, pointing towards the Thai VOR. Alexander, thank you very much for your 10-year donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind. Thank you, Alexander. And the pair has made an appearance. #1 fan. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. I hope you're doing very well today. And yeah, that's really kind. Thank you for your contribution to the channel. Right, that's quite hard to do. Something like that. Let's go. Autopilot with heading IS, and we should see it climb. Let's get that OBS course pointing towards the Thai VOR. So I can see it's off to my right at the moment, so let's go right. Yeah, thank you very much, Alexander. Really appreciate your donation. Very kind of you. And there we go. Leaving the beach behind us, and our colleague coming along with us. Excellent. Oh, that was good fun. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, really cool. It's amazing. And it's amazingly well displayed, with the little airport and everything. I'm very impressed with all Bex's scenery for it. Yeah, thank you again, Alexander. Matt P says, which checklist plugin? That checklist is included with this airplane. Yeah, it's just in here. It's just all included. Really nice. Like I say, this add-on is, what's neat about it is just sort of, there's so many nice little tricks that you can just sort of, you just get on with it, and it just all sort of works. You just, that little manual down there brings up everything you need. You can move around the cabin. Yeah, it's really nice, really nice. Andy says that there's the ferry if we turn right. Yeah, so that must be how most people get there, I'd imagine. Not these small numbers coming in on the Twin Otters. So we're going straight up to flight level. Let's do standard. 29902. Fantastic. Lauren V says, would love to be sailing in that bay. Bet it's lovely to be on one of those sailboats. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Scotland is an amazing place. Amazing place. Just imagine having a day or so to enjoy the islands here. Beautiful. And Thai. It's definitely becoming one of my new must-go-to destinations. Okay, so let me see what Navigraph wanted me to track towards Thai. It's not written on there. What we can do is we can go Avi tab, charts. So the first leg . could stare at that all day, and I'm not sure I'd be able to spot it. I don't use this sort of flight plan at work, so this default Lido sort of setup is really a mystery to me a lot of the time. Which one of these is going to be the track that expects us to fly? It just says direct. I mean, it's going to be something like 1, 2. Is it the 133? Interesting. Anyway, I'm just going to go fly straight towards it. Still not. Oh, it's because it's done that again. Oh no, 1177. Yeah, no, that's working. Okay, good stuff, good stuff. So we've got VOR on number 1. It's on the 1.5. So let's just do that. There we go. 150 down we go. VFR. And what I can do is go to nav. Let's start bringing the props back as we've been advised. And it looks like this has worked. Good stuff. That's great news, in fact. Let's get GPS, nav. And there we go. We actually got pretty much on the route we wanted to be on. That was a good guess in the end, 150. That's nice. Things do happen quite nice and slowly in this aeroplane. It does make life easier. Hayden J. Robbins, good evening to you. Thanks for coming along. Okay, yeah, great rate of climb. When you get those props back a bit, it seems to really zoom up. The fuel seems to burn. I wonder how it does its fuel. Anyway, don't know. Now, I have been in the Twin Otter, and they are quite noisy. So you would indeed have your want to have those prop RPMs back as soon as you can. Now there's our seatbelt signs, so they are displayed. Excellent. I suppose we can turn off the seatbelts and the taxi light. But I'm afraid the no smoking sign will have to stay on for those of you. Yeah, there it goes. Always nice to see these details. So we can squeeze her in. There we go. Brilliant. Right, 4,000 feet to go. Just under, climbing pretty well. Aaron Ramority says, I'm too used to seeing airliners and this feels weird. Yeah, it's a strange one to me as well. So we're going to go back to Glasgow now, and instead of just sort of winging it in on a visual, we'll go and fly the ILS, hopefully, if there is still a controller there. And this thing can do the ILS. We have it here. So the ILS is available, and it will display it here as well. So, yeah. Great stuff. Oh, sorry, no, this isn't the ILS. This is the another OBS. Yeah, anyway, you can display the ILS on here. You've got a glide path indicator. So that's what we'll do. So we can set up a minima. We can do all of that good stuff, just as we're used to on this channel. Eric says, what's the point of the non-smoking lights? I've never been on a plane where you can smoke. No, but once upon a time you could. So they're left over from when it was allowed to have to have smoking sections on the airplanes, believe it or not. So they're left over. And also, it's a requirement. If you don't have facilities for people to smoke in, you have to have the sign anyway. It's just an extra safety measure in case someone thinks they are allowed for some reason. Paddy, thank you very much for your 10-year donation. Really appreciate it, Paddy. Paddy is our expert behind the Manta Retro livery. Thank you, Paddy. Paddy says, was really looking forward to this and have not been disappointed. Such a fun stream. That's really kind. Thank you, Paddy. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's great to hear. Yeah, I love doing things like this. And it's all your guys' enthusiasm that puts us here. So thank you very much, and thank you for the donation, Paddy. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot too. That was great fun. Really great fun. Nice distance as well. Nice flight. Sort of 1 hour flight. We enjoyed that. Now the weather looks much nicer than it did earlier, but I'm going to go up to 10,000 so we're above it before we head down into Glasgow. And then we'll level off, then we'll accelerate and start the setup, because actually we've got a fair bit of setup to do. But yeah, thank you very much, Paddy, for your donation. Thank you for your hard work on the channel and the deliveries as well. It's really, really great stuff. And our, of course, JMC livery, which I am going to use soon. I've been itching to fly JMC again. This is X-Plane 11, Arin. Yep. Eric says, smoking in a closed metal tube filled with tons of fuel sounds like old times. Yeah, it does. It did happen. It did happen. Right, we're in our last 1,000 feet to go, so I'm going to push out alert. Now, I don't know. You can push all of these. I don't know what pushing MDA would achieve. I don't know. If anyone knows, do let me know. James Lee says, what's your ETA for Glasgow? We should be at Glasgow in... Well, we're going to accelerate shortly. So... Does it tell us in here? Probably, if I knew what I was looking at. I'd say... What does the overlay say? Overlay usually is a good idea. Probably 40 minutes, something like that. Oh, for some reason the overlay isn't waking up. Oh no, it will wake up when we hit 10,000 feet, I think. Yeah, I think about 40, 50 minutes, something like that. For James. Kunai, see you later. Thanks for coming along. Kunai says, I have to unplug my electric car before the supermarket closes. Should be back before the landing, I hope. Excellent. Getting the electricity out of the supermarket. That's a great idea. Great idea. Oh, no, it's not going to give us the ETA because we're at 9,000 feet. Ah, that's annoying. But it doesn't matter. Yeah, my overlay will only show you above 10,000 feet. This, Mark, this is indeed the RW Design DHC6 V2. Absolutely. Checkpoint says we only work minimum excuse altitude. Yeah, exactly. You get it. Right. There we go. Leveling off. Lower the attitude. Let it accelerate a bit. It will trim for us. Magic. Magic, magic, magic. Okay, so what I wanted to do was do procedures. Select arrival. And let me figure out what arrival SimBrief was working on. Doesn't have any. Doesn't have any. Let's go. Clear out that. So that was good fun. Thank you, Barra. And we'll go to Glasgow. We'll do the arrival. So what one is going to work for us here? What is going to work for us here? Bruce. Looks like the Bruce 1 Golf. There we go, perfect. Yeah, of course, we're coming in straight via Bruce. That's our waypoint. So Bruce, definer. And... No, not that. And... Approach. RS05 won't be low vis, I hope. But yeah, it's going to have to be vectors after finer. MSA 4800. We can effectively go straight to the cow. But yeah, we're going to need vectors. Do not proceed beyond finer without ATC clearance. No worries. I don't think we have any more. No, and they're all on nav anyway, to be honest. I wonder if we did the VOR, would it get us from finer? Nope. No. Oh, there we go. Right, yeah, so we can do an RS in this airplane. No problems. Let's select the Bruce. Enter. Bruce, finer, Glasgow. Not a very exciting arrival, to be honest. That's all we need from it, really. Oh no, Akash says, hey, having a bad day, lost my phone. Sorry to hear it. I hope you find it again. That's yeah, that's not a good thing to happen. That will make a really that'd be a tough time. I wouldn't know. That'd be a real panic moment. So yeah, I hope you find it soon. Bruce is enjoying the Bruce waypoint. That's always nice to find. Yeah, Your namesake waypoint. Excellent. Well, we're going to go right overhead, Bruce. Aaron says, do you think getting into aviation will be too risky the next few years? What do you feel about the aviation industry for the future? Hard question. Oh, let's bring those back a bit more. And then you notice we suddenly get more speed out of it. Oh yeah, they're way too fast. That's a bit slow. And then it will just accelerate as it gets bite in the air with that sort of, it's like going into a high gear. It's probably an incorrect way to describe it, but that's what I've done. Yeah, aviation, it is going to be risky. I mean, we just don't know where the recovery is, what date it's going to happen. And obviously it won't be a date, it will take years. So right now, yeah, things in aviation are obviously risky. So I wish that wasn't the case. There we go, strobe lights. Yeah, we do have strobe lights. That's better. So yeah, sadly, it is a risky time at the moment because we just don't know where that recovery is and how long it will take. Chick Point says, wondering if there's a waypoint called Chick. Yeah, I suspect there is. Lauren V has a waypoint in New York. Excellent. Holland says most engines run left counterclockwise, so the critical engine is the left side. So on a clockwise engine, I guess it would be the right engine. Is my guessing correct? Let me think about that. Oh, that's a good question. So we look at engines spinning from the back. So if it was spinning clockwise, like that, then it would be the right-hand engine will be the critical engine. Sorry. The left-hand engine would be the critical engine if it was running clockwise. So if that one failed, there'll be the biggest moment from the right-hand engine. Yeah. So running clockwise, I think the left-hand engine is the critical engine. Goodness me, it's been a long time since I've had to think about that. Critical engines in jet airliners are simply the one that's is to do with the wind. So it changes depending on that because they don't have the same issue. Let's see. Goodness me. I mean, I might have got that wrong. So basically, the idea is, with a propeller, when it's spinning down, it produces more thrust than when it's spinning up the blade. Now, don't ask me why that is. Please don't. The result is, if these engines were spinning to the right, like this, then you're getting a slightly more thrust coming off this side of the engine. Don't ask me why. So that's why you have a critical engine, because let's say these engines are spinning clockwise, then the downside would be producing more thrust. If that's the case, and this engine fails, you've got all your thrust coming out as over here, which is further from the center of gravity of the airplane. If this engine failed, your thrust will be coming from here, so it's actually nearer the center of gravity, so it'll be easier to control. That's why you have a critical engine. So when you're learning to fly turboprops and you're doing your engine failures after takeoff, they will make sure you can do it with the worst case engine failed. Yeah. Asymmetric blade effects, there you go. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. I don't fully understand it, but there you go. Victor Tango, why does it produce more thrust when spinning down? Yeah, that's we'll have to get an aeronautical engineer. Maybe Windows Seat knows, but I am afraid I just don't. Toga says the downgoing propeller has a greater angle of attack as compared to the upgoing propeller. There you go, that makes sense. So compared to the air, when it's going down, it's going to have a higher angle of attack compared to going up. Yeah, Mike says correct. The left engine would be critical in this. I've forgotten which way these spin, I will be very honest with you. But if they're spinning to the clockwise, then the left engine is critical. Here we go, back at tie. Zoom overhead. Lovely. What do you guys think of this livery? I think it's pretty smart. Pretty nice and modern. Yeah, very nice. Togo, glad you're enjoying the stream. Thanks very much for coming along. And thanks for your for that knowledge. Excellent. Mrs. 1302 has her own waypoint near the bottom of the VOR, says Andy. There you go. Excellent. Right, let's go inside and check what the airplane's doing. We are in GPS. Good. So we'll get a little message and it'll tell us where it wants our course bar. Let's see. Have we got any controllers online? Edinburgh's all alive, but there's no one in Glasgow. Well, there's the turn. Hasn't bothered with the message. There we go. Oh, there it is. Oh no, we got it fixed in time. So here's a question for you guys. So we have some merchandise available already on the Teespring store. Now, are you guys interested in some other merchandise which I'm thinking about looking into? We talked a little bit about this, but yeah, basically a pen or notebook. I won't say much more than that, but would that be of interest to anyone? It's no requirement to say yes. It's just for my own knowledge whether people are interested or not. Right. Bruce, Finer, Glasgow. Not long to go now. Checkpoint's waiting on a mug with GCMX. Okay. Excellent. Sadly, the mugs that we use, you can't print across the whole thing at the moment on Teespring, which is why we can't get the full wraparound print. Okay, thanks, Andy. That's like a fountain pen. I wouldn't. I wouldn't probably be able to source that very easily. But yeah, fountain pens are nice. I'll just get rid of this glaring GPS. Airbus likes the Paddy retro livery. Checkpoint loves the hoodie. Yeah, thanks for getting the hoodie, Checkpoint. Really appreciate it. It all helps towards the channel. Yes, Papa says yes, would be nice if it was a pilot one, so areas to write things down. There's no keychains, Ubisoft, no keychains. Right, so we're going to arrive at Bruce and then basically head to Finer to be at Finer. Maximum flight level 140. Well, we're below that. Minimum flight level 70. So we'll go down to 70, get to Finer, and then head into Glasgow. So how are we going to get from Glasgow to the RS? Well, what we could do it procedurally. Why not? Let's do that. So we'll fly from Finer to the GAL. We'll stay at 5,000 feet as a minimum. Overhead the GAL, we should really do a hold. Actually, it's a bit annoying, but we'll be a Cat B plane this time. So we'll go outbound on 219. So this is designed for the smaller aircraft. Normally we're Cat C in the Airbus, hence it's wider for us. But yeah, we can join this, go... well, we could do a hold. We can go outbound, background and inset the 049 and then head out on 219. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Pete with like a baseball cap. Excellent. Mike says, I'm waiting for the 1200 model A320 MAX delivery. Yeah, so I have looked into models. Sadly, they are... It's an incredible... Because they're not printed to order, the expense and the minimum orders and so on means that it's just not practical at the moment, sadly. I'd love to do a custom model, but yeah, it's not going to be feasible, I'm afraid, for now. Yeah. Hazza00 says, just to let you know, I'm Logan455. Excellent. Thanks for coming along. We're roughly 3 minutes behind you. So, to you, Hazza, thanks for flying along. And just to let you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to descend down and then we will head to the GAL and then fly a bit of a hold and then go outbound. But I'll announce what I'm doing on the radio as we get closer. Cheekpoint says, I saw people putting their merch in their YouTube channel. Can you do that as well, or is that something you can get with more subscribers? It should be all there, to be honest with you. Speaking, our latest one is this, and I can pin that to those of you. And it should show up when you go to my YouTube channel on your phone or whatever. It should show up, but again, it's all a bit of a mystery to me. Andy says there's a silly Skybus livery for the Twin Otter too, if you fancy a stream from Newquay to St Mary's at some point. Ah, well, interesting. Okay, thanks, Andy. Yeah, some good points, some good thoughts there. Always fun to explore. Aaron says, have you had anything gone wrong in the 320 when flying in real life? I understand you can't answer the question. If you can't answer the question, sorry. Yeah, I've had things go wrong, but just minor stuff that takes a bit of engineering fix. Maybe a little bit of a procedure to follow. Nothing too exciting. Right. Lovely. Weather seems to have cleared up a lot since earlier. Can't see our colleagues. I wish it drew the nameplates a little bit further than it does. I did see them earlier, but they seem to have vanished for now. Right, guys. So let's just review that plan. We're going to come in. We're going to head to the GAL. Straight overhead, GAL. Altitude at the GAL will be... Well, let's see. What's the hold altitude? Minimum hold altitude, 3,000 feet. Enter holding as instructed. Normally at 7,000. Okay, we'll stay at 7,000. We'll go overhead the GAL. Then we will descend when we're in the hold to 4,000. Then we'll head outbound. 219 to 10.3. Then we'll make our right turn back in 049 for the ILS DME 1101. So we only need, we've got the GAL tuned. I'm not going to be too concerned about the 331 NDB, although I suppose may as well have that tuned rather than anything else. There we go, 331. Matthew says 320 Sim Pilot and his amazing Technicolor livery. Very good, yeah. Hayden J. Robbins says my mug is doing sterling work. Excellent, yeah. Yeah, we also have a mug. That's been quite popular. People have enjoyed the mug, and yeah, I've got one as well. I ordered all of these for myself before making them available, to make sure I knew what it looked like, and that it worked. So I put the mug up. Yeah, the mug's really nice actually. I do like that. Love it. Right. So yeah, Bruce Finer, Glasgow. Yeah, we can. Let's put in the approach into Glasgow as well, just so we have something there. Approach. Enter. ILS 05, please. And we'll go via. The GLW would be via the NDB. We're going to go via the VOR. So GAL. It's got one or two. Ooh, there must be reason. D4.4 from the GAL. D206 kilo. No, that we've done the wrong one. we want the GAL 2 then. Let's do 5. Transition. GAL 2. There it is, 219. That'll be us because we're so slow. So the 1 was designed for heavier, faster airplanes. I assume because you could have this GPS in a Learjet or whatever. Right. Load. We won't activate it just yet. We'll just keep going as we are. Good stuff. So yeah. I assume this thing can do a hold as well, although... yeah, okay, so we'll have to activate that as we get closer. Yeah, that makes sense. Easy peasy, he says. Before it all goes wrong. Dougal, thanks for coming along. Enjoy your work, and thank you for moderating. And yeah, great to see you. Hope to see you again soon. Oh, apparently the stream's down for some people. Hopefully not everyone. Yeah, chick point. Yeah, the model with delivery is something I'd love to do. I'd love to do it, but it's just too the quantities we would need to make it possible. Just make it impractical at the moment. If we get 1 million subscribers, I promise I'll sort it out. Yeah, it's a bit tricky, sadly. Scott, thank you very much for your 10 solid donation. Really appreciate it. The pair has made another appearance, the Superman pair. Thank you very much, Scott. Very kind of you. Thanks for coming along, and I hope you're enjoying the stream. That's really generous. Thank you, Scott. I hope you're doing well over in America. I don't know if it's as cold over there as it is here at the moment, but yeah, we're having a bit of a winter moment. But thank you very much, Scott. Really appreciate it. Chick Point says I'll keep you to it. Yeah, 1 million subscribers, you can keep me to that. Imagine that. Geordie, thanks for coming along, Geordie. I hope you're doing well. Geordie's a long time viewer of the channel. Good to see you. Thank you again, Scott. Really, really kind. Right. That's still very pleasant. I like flying around like this. VFR, things are happening at a nice pace. You know, we're not screaming at 330 knots with the speed brakes out, which I know is obviously my fault if that happens, but still, this is all very, very nice. Right, let's try and remember tuning the ILS. That's going to be the next magic trick. So that can be done in the box. Sorry, in the radio panel. So I'm going to tune it up on the standby. If I do that, there it is. So 1101. That's ready to go. So we'll go outbound on the VOR, then we'll turn right onto an intercept heading and join that ILS. Yeah, good stuff. And the inbound of the hold is 229 inbound, 049 outbound. That's all fine. So what's our inbound course going to be? Oh dear. Now holding, as I said, is one of the hardest things we do. So let's try and picture this. So we're going to come in a straight line from this, basically. It's going to complain here, but that's fine. The inbound course is 049. Like that. Okay. Now I think this should be a parallel entry. We should be like that, and then outbound. We could go straight outbound like that as well. That'd be pretty good. Sorry, because it's 229 inbound. That's why that doesn't make any sense. There we go. 229. There we go. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's pretty much the only one we can do. The teardrop entry would not really work here. So yeah, we're going to come in. I mean, this is what I mean when I talk about holds. It's something the reason it's taken me so long to think about it is nowadays I let the airplane fly. Now we could always get ourselves into a hold if we need to, but yeah, it's one of those things that we luckily don't have to spend too much of our energy on. But yeah, you've got to choose your entry. So basically with the hold, we're trying to stay in this piece of airspace, even accounting for the wind. That's why you don't fly in circles, because you couldn't do it in circles. You'd just drift off, because there's no way to manage a circle to be in the same space unless you've got a GPS that can do it. So we're going to come in, we're going to join the hold. So what we would do is we'd come in like this, go parallel the inbound, but we're going outbound effectively, and then we'll turn around here and go towards the GAL VOR. Then you would just sit there in the hold. Then you've joined the hold and off you go. And raw data holding I need to do a tutorial on in the future. It's not something I'm particularly well practiced at recently. It's just not something we do, like I say. But what we can do is go in, out, do our join, and then we'll just go straight outbound. That's what I'm going to do. Oscar agrees. I think it's parallel. Yeah, good. I agree. Jack says, is the Twitter still buggy? Whenever I switch between nav GPS, I get stuck in one after switching once or twice. I haven't had any trouble with it. However, I am not going to try and break it. But no trouble so far. We've swapped a few times. Lauren V says, wonder if decals for, say, a 140 snap together might be a better solution for a model. Yeah, so decals is an interesting one, and I've definitely thought about that. I just I need to have a bit of a look. Yeah, decals is a really good idea. The problem is, especially for the normal livery we have, it's a completely painted aeroplane, so it could be quite tricky. -11. Landing at Burlington this morning. Oh dear. If that's a temperature, that's cold. Husker is in Florida. Oh, Orlando, Florida. Fantastic. If I lived in Orlando, Florida. Oh, amazing. That'd be great. There we go. 9 minutes to Finer. Arriving in Glasgow airspace. Do we have any controller? We do. There's a tower. Fantastic. That is great news. And there's an ATIS 129575. Still loving this radio panel, so thank you all so much for the advice. It's making such a difference. Can't get the ATIS just yet. Yeah, being able to do the radios without having to click on these dials down here is such a joy. So good. Lauren V says decals might suit the retro liveries. Yeah, that is definitely more likely. Brian, he says, is there ever a PO box in your future so you can resend stuff? I suppose there could be. I've never thought about it, I must admit. Never thought about it. Scott would like actual decals for the laptop and beer fridge. There you go. We have sticker set, but not actual decals. Yeah, interesting. Chickpoint says, having my eyes on the radio panel as well, but sadly out of stock. Yeah, they are, as ever, with all flights and stuff at the moment. Difficult to get hold of, but oh, yeah, the radio panel. I mean, it's particularly useful while streaming just because it just keeps me from having to stare at that radio panel for as long. Anna says, are you only running the left-hand fuel tank because it's a lot lower than the right-hand? No, we are running both. So they've both gone down. It's in normal mode. This is forward. Sorry, this is aft. This is forward. So we've got more fuel in the forward tank, which keeps our CG balanced. So yeah, these aren't in the wings. These are beneath us, so they're forward and backwards. So it's a different sort of setup. But yeah, one is lower. One was always lower. We started with it lower. They don't seem to need to be balanced. In fact, if I do balance all the fuel into both of them, the CG would be too far backwards. It's a strange setup. Yeah, it's unusual. So, but yeah, good point. What does that do? Nothing. Right. What I wanted to do as well. Let's put in the minima for a Glasgow. Right. 200. So, oh, there it is. 200 there. I don't know if that's going to beep at us or what's going to happen. If I press MDA, would it arm? Would it shout at us? Curious. I do not know. Santiago, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll let you guys know if I do open one. You're all very kind. Thank you for coming along, Santiago, and watching again today. Good to see you here. Lauren V says, I'd be up to build a proper 320 model if we could get some Manta decals for it. I suppose the decals wouldn't be... Well, yeah, it's something I'll have to test out. I'll have a look into that, but that's going to be a slow process. These things often are. Pete White says, I think I may log on to VATSIM and watch your landing. Not sure where I want to fly to yet, though. Fly to Barra. It's about an hour flight. You could do it in a faster airplane for your amusement. Yeah, our very own VATSIM controller, some of you may recognise, has sprung to life in Glasgow for us, which is very kind. So the very kind controller who helped us out before in the Discord is going to be available for us in Glasgow when we get there, which is great news. Jeffrey says, all the people I know hate planes and say they are stupid. Do you experience the same criticism? No, I don't experience the same criticism, I must admit. What I do find is people, you know, I can't talk about airplanes like I talk with you guys because it's just not a topic that, you know, if someone's not interested, they're not interested, and it's such a big topic and every answer has so many answers to it that it just gets very complicated. So yeah, it's not something I talk about in the same way as I can talk to with everyone in the chat here. I must say that. Dara, good to see you. Yeah, Twin Otter, it's good fun. I'm enjoying it a lot. Pete White, A320 exit is then excellent. Lauren V says, building a proper paint and glue model is also a slow process. Yeah, it is indeed. It is indeed. I mean, I suppose you'd need paint and decals if you could paint it, and the cheat line down the windows. Imagine that pink and blue model. Much nicer weather. This is going to be a nice arrival. The wind farms. Duncan Clary, thank you so much for your 20 donation. Oh, message retracted. I missed it. Duncan, do type your message back again if you'd like to, or if you want to change it again. I'll make sure I see it, and if I don't, if someone points it out. But thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you. I hope you're doing very well. The Streamlabs seems to be showing it, but I won't read it out unless Duncan would like me to. But yeah, thank you very much for your donation, Duncan. Really appreciate it. Very kind of you, Duncan. Thank you. There we go then. Getting to the last bit of the approach. Ah, someone bought a sticker. Excellent. So those stickers, anonymous bought a sticker. So yeah, thank you very much. You can buy those on the Teespring store. And those stickers are, I've got those as well, and you can cut them out and use them wherever you feel like. So yeah, and you can choose the colour of the background if you want to use them like that. So yeah. CHF is Swiss franc. There we go, Eric. Thank you very much. Swiss franc. I was struggling. Thank you very much, Duncan. Really appreciate it. Frank says this stream has such a chill vibe. Loving it. That's great. Yeah, that's what especially when we're flying, you know, we're doing this for fun. Want to be able to enjoy it. So we do often go for the chill sort of way forwards. Not always. Sometimes we're flying into Innsbruck or Reggio Calabria. Reggio Calabria, which somebody pointed out on the Discord, has new scenery. So we flew there in X-plane. I'm not sure I would want... it's getting to the point where you could fly the A320 mod there as well. I'd love to fly it with proper scenery and the lead-in running lights, but they're just not there yet, which is a shame. Cody says, hi, can you fly the Air India? Yeah, we haven't. I don't know if we'll get round to it, but I'll definitely think about it. John said, I fueled up the tanks incorrectly once and I felt a jolt upwards in the cockpit. Looked outside and I was tilted 45. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so for anyone who missed it, way to balance. There we go. We got so much fuel in the front, not so much in the aft. And the CG's in the middle. What I might do, I do not know what the real pilots would do here, but I don't know if we're allowed to let that tank run empty or whether it's automatic. I do have the manual somewhere. But anyway. I suppose I could put both on forward for a bit. I'll try and just drain a bit out of the front. Help balance it out. Hayden J. Robbins says, you should ask your followers to use their stickers on their car bumpers. We can shout out fellow fans of the stream if we see them. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. We could do that. In America, you can get a die-cut sticker. Yeah, if I pin that. Now, I couldn't get one of these because I'm not in America. So if anyone has one, I think someone's bought one. But I don't know what this sticker is like, but it looks quite nice. I've got a few of these of different airlines around the world. So I would have ordered one for myself as well, but yeah. But there you go, anyone in America, they do that from their warehouse there. Moochie2 says that Logan Air livery is quite cool. It fits the size of the plane. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they've done a good job. Mateo says there is a scenery with lead-in lights. Yeah, Mateo, so there's scenery with lead-in lights in X-plane for Reggio Calabria, but is there one in Microsoft? Because I know there's a Payware scenery there, but I don't think it has the lights yet. Anyway, here we go. Let's see if we can get that ATIS again. That's where I find out I've got my radio set wrong. Doesn't seem to be working. I'm going to have to cheat. Right, I can tell you that we have runway in use 05, transition level 70, so we're going to join the hold at flight level 70. Surface wind is 030 at 8. It's calmed down a bit. Visibility is good, 10 kilometers or more. Broken 4,300. Oh, it's a nice day. It has improved. That is really nice. Broken 4,300. Oh, towering cumulus detected. Oh, well, that's not ideal because they can be quite bumpy. Temperature -1. It's cooled down. Dew point -3. QNH 1015. QNH 1015 is 29 at 907. I'm imagining the Logan Air Twin Otters have the correct settings for that. There we go. So we've got information alpha. Fantastic. So what else have I got to say? So we're in the Twin Otter. This is the DHC6 Series 310. It's basically the Series 300, but they had to modify it a bit to meet the British aviation regulations. Viking now, as we talked about earlier, they produce a more modern version because they bought the rights to the design. Obviously, this is an old design from 1960s. Unbelievably, I didn't realise it was quite that old. Very popular for its short takeoffs and landings, including skydiving. And yeah, we talked about the engines, PT6A engines, very, very popular. Yeah, nice machine, enjoying it. So, at some point I'm going to go down to 70. I haven't been told to contact them by yet. Duncan, there we go. Duncan, thank you. Duncan says, you single-handedly taught me how to competently fly an A320 on Microsoft Flight Simulator. 20 years ago, before YouTube, I would always need to start on a runway as cold and dark wasn't an option. Thanks. Duncan, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for the donation. Really kind of you. And yeah, thank you for coming along to the stream. And thank you for your message. It's just great to hear when people have been able to enjoy the videos. And it's great to hear it's helped you out. So thank you very much, Duncan. Really appreciate it. Eric says the stickers add 5 horsepower to any car. There you go. Yeah, Matteo. Yeah, so there's Matteo. The scenery for Reggio Calabria is in the marketplace for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it does say in the note that it doesn't have the lights yet. But I don't. They said it's part of the SourceWare SDK. However, I'm pretty sure Kaitac Freeware does have the lights, although I need to check that. There we go. Matteo is trying to land a 320 in Birmingham while watching the stream and replying. Not a deal. Yeah, there you go. Sticker Mule does die cut stickers in the EU, says Mike. Ah, there's the ATIS. Oh, it's Bravo now. That happens all the time. Giuseppe's Gaming from Twinfinite. Thanks for coming along.
Time 1850 Zulu. Runway in use 05. Transition level, flight level 70.
Source 70.
Wind 050 degrees 8 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers.
Down the runway.
Light snow.
Light snow. Wow.
3,500 feet.
It's got worse again then.
4,100 feet. Overcast 4,800 feet. Temperature 0. Dew point -3. QNH 1016. Threshold QFE 1015. Recent train. Acknowledge receipt of information.
Well, that's
Bravo.
300 then. Or 3000.
First contact.
Good. Right, we'll give them the aircraft type on first contact. No problem there. Thank you, Giuseppe. So Giuseppe works at with Twinfinite, as you see there, who have some great interviews and so on, and Flight Simulator news. And Giuseppe says they added the leading lights to the Reggio Calabria approach in Microsoft Flight Simulator add-on with the latest update. Ah, well, that's good to know. That could be somewhere I'd like to revisit, certainly. Oh, apparently the update may not be in the marketplace version yet. There we go. Yeah, good to know. Thanks very much. Thanks for the update, Giuseppe. Futi2 says, I flew the Innsbruck approach, but wouldn't have tried and been successful before that stream. Yeah, that stream, eh? Brianny talking about skydiving, I think. Sorry if I've missed it. But yeah, I would skydive. Definitely. Right, 4 minutes to go. Still haven't been contacted. I might tune. Maybe it's good form. I've never done it before, but there it is. 1188. Oh, we'll stay where we are then.
Glasgow Tower, good evening. Just a quick message, sir. There's traffic off your right-hand side, also inbound to Glasgow. However, is much slower than you, sir.
That'll be us. So coming in with Ice-Air. So Ice-Air will be coming in from this same direction, I suppose. Or very similar. I can't hear what they're saying over my loud turbo prop. What information got Bravo? Glasgow, good evening. Logan 252, flight level 980 towards the Golf Oscar Whiskey. Dash, not even dash, we are a Twin Otter, DHC6. Information Bravo, QNH is 1016.
Logan 252, Glasgow Tower, good evening, all correct. Traffic information for you, there's Iceland Air 757 off your left-hand side, currently descending through flight level 75. You can route direct to the GAL, and will that be for a procedural approach for ILS runway 05?
Copy the traffic. We'll route direct to the GAL, and we would like the procedural ILS 05 AFIRM, Logan 252.
Logan 252, roger.
Right, we'll do as we're told, direct to the GAL. Traffic coming in much faster on our left.
Hello there again, Ryanair 122 requesting push and start, please.
Haven't seen them.
Ryanair 122, stand 30, push and start is approved.
Ryanair 122 push and start approved.
And ICE 142, Glasgow Tower. Just to confirm, you're going to be self-positioning for an ILS runway 05.
Frank says, what is your opinion on the funny-looking noses of the 350 and 78? I think they look a bit silly, but I have to assume they have some aerodynamic purpose. Yeah, I assume they do.
252, you can descend own discretion for the VORD encryption. Yeah, VORDME approach for the ILS runway 05, report beacon outbound.
Descend own discretion for the VOR ILS 405 Wilco Logan 252. Good stuff. So we said 70. I'm just going to slow down. Let's enter the hold. Let's do all this at about 120. Gives me more room for the manoeuvring. Yeah, so the 78 and the 350 have a different sort of style, absolutely. But they must have an aerodynamic reason, and my understanding is they're both very quiet flight decks to be on. So there's 120. Let's put in 7, flight level 70. IS, reduce that power. Not too much though, because it's going to go down anyway. But yeah, no, I think both 350 and the 78 look quite nice. They look a bit more like a train compared to. You had the older style airplanes had the sort of the big bow like a boat. So you had like the A330, for example, it looks like a bit of a boat at the front. Whereas the newer style planes seem to go with this sort of more nose down, like a train, as if it's sort of sitting on the ground. I'm sure there's a reason. There always is in aviation. There's a reason for absolutely everything. Right, so we're doing the VOR ILS DME in course 229, 21, 22, 229. So that's all set up. Let us tune the GAL properly. 1154. There we go. And we are basically there. So in a second, let's put it into heading. It's quite aggressive with that heading, isn't it? Oh, no, don't do that. 229. There we go, we're just passing overhead, so let's turn outbound. So I can do that. We're going to go paralleling the outbound. Luckily the wind is down the runway, so that's going to make this hold really easy. I'm just going to fly exactly that. So, sending down to 7, so let's put out alert so it does level off. And you can see we've gone slightly through that course bar, so I'm now flying outbound. The course bar's pointing behind me, but that's not an issue. Let me tune that ILS properly, which is 1101. Have that ready. Oh, yeah, so that's going to act in reverse here. So outbound is 049. So 0304. So we need to go over here. Yeah, this is the problem with using a course bar like this. 0304 is coming into 049 very shortly. Level at 70. It should level off for us. Add a bit of power. Wonder what this is showing us now. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Right, so next we're going to descend. Let's Get some speed on there. Zero 03, 04, 049 should be there. No, not that one. That one. Good stuff. Right. That's not showing anything because it's like that. There we go. So I was using this needle to show you don't have to use this course bar. There we go. That's what we needed. I was wondering why it wasn't showing up. So 2122229 inbound. That's what we're doing the reciprocal of. And now we are 3 miles out. Yeah, so you're supposed to time. Do 1 minute holds. Some of them are based on distances though. But anyway, now let's bring ourselves round in a teardrop. So we're going to zoom all the way back round onto an intercept, and we're going to intercept that. Oh no! Ooh, that's a cat. Gotcha. The Airbus is a bit smarter than that. If you wind it to the left, it will always turn left all the way around to the heading bug. But in these older systems, if you do that, let's try and keep the speed roughly right, eh? I think we'll come back to 100 knots for the procedure. Yeah, if you wind it too far, clearly it's going to zoom the wrong way. I keep forgetting about this VLOC GPS thing. Yeah, very important. And I can show you on here what we're doing. So we've sort of quite badly gone outbound. Now we're going to go back to the GAL and then out from there. There's a speed bird hopefully above us. So on that intercept heading, then we are going to get onto that inbound for the... In fact, we could just point straight at the needle. In fact, that is pretty much what we should do. So let's put that course bar. There we go. Let's do that. Let's fly straight at the GAL. And then we can use that to go outbound. Sorry if I missed anything in chats now. It might be a little bit busy. So there we go. We've done our holds. So again, should have timed the outbound really, and then we're going to come back in. We're pointing straight at the GAL, and then we could turn right and enter the hold and fly holds, but we're not going to. We're going to go outbound on 219 until 10.7.
252, you can contact Scottish Control 126.3. I'll speak to you in a minute.
1263, Logan 252, bye. .63. Scottish Logan 252, inbound to the GAL for the VOR DME 05. Right, we need to descend.
Logan 252, Scottish Control, hello, Roger, stand by 1 second, report me outbound.
Wilco, Logan 252. And we'll put in the 3000, so we get our QNH in. Now we're going down to an altitude. There it is. Great stuff. So we are descending. Starting to drift off there, that inbound, so let's get that wind has pushed us away. Keep pointing straight at it. That's not very neat at all. Keep descending down to 4,000. Now important we don't go below that 4,000 this time, so I need to keep an eye on that. See how close we are though, so it's easy to get distracted, but what we really need to think about is that 219 outbound, which is there. 219, 219.
If you give me a call, just passing Blacker.
Right, let's keep descending. Okay, we're about to pass straight over that VOR. Here it goes.
Logan 252, descent to altitude 3,000 feet, see Glasgow, QH 1016, report base turn complete.
Descend actually 3,000 feet. Wilco, Logan 252, QNH is 1016, and we are beacon outbound. Right, see there, we're about to reach that radial. 219 on the 1154. No, we're not going to get much of a signal while we're overhead, so we don't want to overreact, but I'm just going to turn onto 219. Excuses for this approach is it's really difficult. No, it's not. I'm running out of excuses for this one, but you can see here, there's the 219. It's not quite showing up. Our needle's starting to come to life, but if you look on here, we're only just past it all. That's not much use at the moment, really, is it? Let's get rid of that. There's that course bar coming in, but mostly importantly, I can see that needle. It's starting to swing round, so let's see where it settles. I'm going to do this out to 10.7. There's my DME up here, at which point we make our right turn round onto an intercept. So I'm going to intercept 050 effectively inbound. So I'll turn to 020 and join the ILS, which I'm hoping I can get right. Let's descend a little bit quicker. Take that power off. Get those power levers up now. Get the seatbelt signs on. Get the taxi light on. Fasten your belts. Okay. Right. RLS is on the standby frequency. We've got it ready to go. 1101 if we need it. Let's get over onto that course. 219. I want to be as close to it as we can. Make our lives easy. The 10.3 is based on the India uniform. The 10.7 is based on the GAL. So our DME reading here, I'm using the GAL. Yeah, that's why it's a bit confusing. So 21. Yeah, 219. Looks like 219 to me. Wind is now on the tail, so we should be able to just pretty much track 219. Not sure why it's not quite showing up on the chart. So it's hopefully the VOR chart. VOR, ILSDME, yeah. Yeah, there we go. No problem. Right. So out to 10.3, then we'll make our right turn back round and in. Keep that descent going. Charlie's back. Good to see you, Charlie. Thanks for coming back. Lovely weather for it today. We could have just done a visual, but we did that earlier. Good to mix it up. And it's Glasgow. That's where we're aiming. So when you're doing this in flight school, you don't get the luxury of a chart that sort of does it all for you. You're just relying on these needles 100%. And again, 10.7, then we're going to turn rounds. I'm not sure where the ILS DME will show up in this airplane. That is a good question. We may have to continue to use the GAL DME, which it does also give us here. And we got the approach.
I've just been told by the ground frequency that there may be an internet issue with Scottish Control. We should be back on any time now.
Just try and keep on that 219.
Right here behind me, no problem. Cheers, Libby. Easy 2425.
Oh, what am I doing? No, 3,000 feet. Yep, good. So we'll carry on without alert. Keep that armed, and that should level off for us. Hard to remember that. Within 1,000 feet to go, you've got to remember to press that. Yeah, we have picked up a few passengers since departing Barra. Very good. Lauren V says, we appear to have gained passengers since departing Barra. I thought this was the kind of plane people jumped out of. Yeah. Right, so we go then, 10.7. Keep it at 110. Sorry, 100 knots. So we're at 9.8. No, that one's off to the right for some reason. The chart shows us to the right already. It's 10.6. Right, there we go. So let's do that right turn now. And I said 050, so I'm going to go to 020.
Good evening, Scottish Centre. Easy 2425 at runway 06, holding point Alpha 1.
Now I need to set the inbound course 049 for the ILS. Level at 3. Let's tune the ILS. 1101.
EasyJet 2421, Ryanair 2376. I'm just going to dial back on to
Level at 3,000 feet, which is the... Actually, now we can go down to 2.4 if we were doing this procedurally. But we weren't cleared to, so air traffic may have other ideas for us, so I won't descend. Logan 252 is base leg for RS05. And let's see if arming approach works. Glide slope armed, it says so. Let's start slowing down. Logan 252 is base leg RS05. Here comes the RS.
EasyJet 2421, Ryanair 2376. Looks like Scottish not coming back online. Instruct 2421 to decimate.
Roger. Now we'll just talk to tower then. Let's see if this intercepts this before I bother with any of that. So 90 knots. Let's get the first bit of flap out. Flaps 10. Going to get some drag now, so going to need to add power. I'm hoping it will turn right. There it goes. Fantastic news. And then from 3,000 feet, we're going to intercept about 9 miles to go to the airport. We get a little reading here, actually. There we go. So that would make sense. Glasgow Tower. Logan 252, ILS 05 at 10 miles.
Logan 252, Glasgow Tower, hello again. Continue approach runway 05, surface wind 050 degrees at 8 knots.
Continue approach, Logan 252. There we go, perfect headwind. So, ground speed now, 80 knots, so 400 feet per minute, which is what we've got.
No worries at all, you can park anywhere up there on your left.
Get that power coming back a little bit. So, good stuff. Probably don't even need flaps, I imagine, for this. Ruchi2 says, in the real Airbus, does the plane silhouette follow like this? No, no. I think some airlines do have that option. But on these approach charts, I don't know if it's possible on an approach chart. It is on some of the en route sort of stuff. But yeah, no, not like this. Right, well, I'm going to just keep 90 knots, bit of flap out. I'm not sure if that's what they would do, but it's good enough for us. Altitude seems to be checking. Fuel is... I'm going to put that back to norm in case we forget it later. Simflyer says, have you seen Ice Pilots? I have indeed.
Logan
Very exciting.
252, Glasgow Tower.
Go ahead, Logan 252.
Can you just confirm your indicated airspeed, please?
90 knots, Logan 252.
I just wanted to check you're actually moving.
I think so. When I see the ground, I'll check.
Thank you.
Controller probably wants to go home. Yeah, we are moving. Simfly UK says, would you ever be interested in flying a twin prop plane like that in X-Plane 11? Yeah, I must admit, since watching Ice Pilots, I've looked at seeing if there's a good DC3 available or something like that. Couldn't resist. Right, let's do the same landing then. So let's do, we'll do a flap 30, 75 knots, and let's see if we can get that nose up a bit more this time, but no promises. No promises. Yeah, it's a slow process doing the full RS. This is why you do a visual. A visual approach in an airliner doesn't always save much time, but you can see if you're doing a procedure like this in an aircraft like this.
Logan 252, when you finally make it there, runway 05, you are cleared to land, surface wind 050 degrees, 8 knots.
Thank you. When we get there, clear to land, 05, Logan 252. Good stuff. So yeah, quite a capable little plane and a nice add-on. I'm really pleased with it. You can see all the lights actually. This is all the lights coming out of these. So I think it'd be quite good for night flying as well. But it's got, you know, the approach is available once you work out the autopilot, which is slightly unusual. But once you do, it's all pretty good. Eric says, don't forget your landing gear. Yeah. Down and locked. Excellent. Andy says, the V Skylabs DC3 is excellent. A few of us have it. Ah, there you go. I didn't know that. We never had one of these shots. I totally forgot to do it today. That's a shame. Max says I drive my car faster than 75 knots. Well, and our ground speed is, yeah, 78, yeah. Barely moving. So normally in a commercial airline, we tend to be stable, i.e. fully configured, the right speed, on profile, flaps out by 1,000 feet. But today, I think 500 feet would be a reasonable, safe point to be stable at. And I wouldn't be surprised if flying this airplane that would be acceptable. I don't know, though. I don't know. And he says ATC banter is cool. Don't tell them that. They'll be encouraged. Right. Yeah, this is... I wonder how long we spent flying this approach now. In hindsight, we could have probably come down this RS at 140 knots and had no trouble. However, not really what that procedure was designed for, but probably would have worked. Probably would have worked. And now, this what tends to happen. You have to really watch this in real life. If you find yourself flying and you end up with a lot of spare time, and you think, oh, I've got ages, there you go, passing through 1,000 feet, then you end up forgetting things more than if you'd been not rushed, but if things had been moving a bit faster. You know, when it feels too easy, it probably is. You've probably forgotten something. Pete White says, so glad I'm not waiting at the hold. Decided I'm going to Cork. Excellent. Okay, I want to be configured by 500, so I'm going to bring the power back now. Going back to 75 knots. Not going to bring the power back too much though, because as the flaps come out, they're going to really slow us down. So let's go to 20, and I might even add a bit of power. Yeah, see, as soon as I do that, washing off. Controller will be really annoyed with us now. 30, power. Power levers are fully forward, good stuff. Sorry, propeller levers I should say. And it's 80 knots, nice nose down attitude. We were clear to land already. Five knots fast. Keep that power back. Autopilot off, and you see it immediately goes to the right. Trying to keep 400 feet per minute, but just aiming out at that touchdown zone now. Bit of trim required. Wonder which exit we can make. So with aeroplanes like this, with the propellers over the wing, you add power and they get they get lift instantly because the propeller pushes air straight over that wing. So they're quite responsive to power changes, whereas jet airliners, we have to actually, you know, push and pull the nose a little bit, not much, but it's a slightly different style of flying the approach, certainly. Let's give it a go. So what did we learn last time? We need to get that nose up. So I'm going to enter the flare and just keep pulling, and we were told basically at the stall warner is where you want to be. The manual said about 20 feet to flare. Let's see what happens. So we're through our minimas. It never said anything. I probably had to press that button to make that work. Bit fast. It's not going to help our nose low landing. Get that power back. Okay, that's probably 20 feet. Power coming back, power coming back. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. There we go. I think we got the nose up a bit better. I don't know. It's so strange, such a strange feeling to keep getting that nose up. But there we go. Right, we are down. I bet that one probably recorded a similar sync rate to the last one. So we'll go for this exit up here, I suppose, whatever that happens to be. See if our controller has any more witticisms for us. Fantastic. Good fun. This was really good fun. I think we're just going to go right here. Why not? Didn't need reverse for that. So we're back where we started a couple of hours ago. How many hours is that? It's been a bit of a long one actually. 4, 5, 6, 3.5 hours. So thank you guys for coming along. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been something a little bit different. We try and feature different airplanes at times. We'll be back in the Airbus soon in some variety for sure. I desperately want to fly that JMC one again as well. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it. We will go and do the replay once we've parked up. But yeah, right, vacate the runway. Get those flaps in.
Logan 252, welcome to Glasgow. Taxi stand 2 via Delta, Golf and Kilo.
Thank you, Delta, Golf, Kilo to stand 2. Logan 252, thanks very much for popping in. It's really nice of our
No worries.
friendly controller.
All stations, Glasgow Tower is now closed. Please monitor Unicom 122 destination. Thank you very much for flying. Have a good night.
That's very nice of him. So that's the vacuum controller who came along and helped us out the other day. Right, let's get those lights off. So we'll go and park and then we'll go and do the necessary replay and finish off. But yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, Liz. Glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Smiled Castle. Very kind. Charlie, thank you. Glad you enjoyed it as well. Doms, he says an A350 flight would be nice. So long haul flights. I promise if we reach 40,000, and I know it's not guaranteed. If we do reach 40,000, long haul live stream will come again. I'm certain of that. Glad you enjoyed it, Andy. Excellent news. Thank you. Right, I'm looking for Golf. It's obviously going to be right at the end. This is Lima. We're going to stay on Golf. Sorry, looking for Kilo. That's really great. Yeah, glad you guys have enjoyed it. See you soon, Victor Tango. Thanks to the moderators, Victor, Andy, Liz, Richard, Dougal for coming along. Matteo, obviously. Swappy as well. Right, next right, I think it is. There's Kilo coming up. Simfly UK says my crumpets are soaked with butter. Very good. Alan Story, you're very welcome, Alan. Thanks for coming along and thanks for your donation. Really appreciate it. Yeah, good to do a bit of instrument flying, sort of the super old school way. Right, let's get ourselves over here. So yeah, we'll be having plenty more videos to come. We've got some more tutorials to cover, and probably some more, or definitely some more live streams to come soon. Both in Microsoft Flight Simulator and X-Plane, of course. Right, which one was stand 2? We started on 3, I think. Should have definitely looked this up earlier. Now is not the time to work out where we're parking. Oh, what are we doing? Where do they write it? There we go. Parking stands and coordinates. Stand 2. Yeah, obviously, just the next one along. Not sure if it's going to be labelled outside. Now that'd be a nice day at work, wouldn't it? Flying the Barra Beach run and back. Yash Alex says, how do you determine the landing feet per minute? Well, the overlay does it automatically. In real life, we don't even think about it. I've never registered or anything like that. You look at the G load sometimes, if in some occasions, but yeah, the actual landing feet per minute is just not used as a measurement of anything really. I think this is stand 2. I hope 1, 2, and 3. Actually, is it 2, 1, 8, 1? Yeah, there we go. Good. I thought so. Okay, fantastic stuff. There's our light reflecting. Oh, it does whiz along when it wants to. Right, let's get that parking brake set. Some things I remember from the way out. Bleed air needs to come off. And flaps are up. Feather the propellers. So I wonder, is it expecting me to feather them first? So now they're feathered, but the engine's still running, you can see. So the propellers aren't producing thrust, but they're just sort of ticking over. And now we cut the fuel off. Maybe I was too fast the other time. Let's turn off the DC. Turn off that. Oh yeah, and these pumps should have gone off. Fantastic. And there we go, guys. So thank you so much for coming along. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have, and I'm glad some of you have. As I said, many, many more live streams to come soon. So, let us disconnect from VATSIM. We've had good luck today with people flying along and the VATSIM controller kindly coming online. And let's go and jump in that replay. Would it close the doors in reverse? It does. The X-Plane replay function is such a fantastic, fantastic thing. Did we get the nose up enough? Just about. Still pretty close, I think. Still pretty close. Definitely on the main wheels though. that was the aim of this, to not cartwheel it, or not wheelbarrow it in. See if we can get one of our classic views. I think we touched down just past the touchdown zone. Oh, sorry, not within the touchdown zone, but just past those markers. So there she comes. Nice low nose attitude for the approach. Entering the flare, bringing the power back, trying to get the nose up. Yeah, we definitely managed on that one. That's better. Still a little bit flat, probably. Amazing how difficult it is. -2 on the replay, was it? Yeah, I won't replay the whole IDS, don't you worry. So what I'm going to do then is the usual. Let's go and take a seat in the cabin. Not from so far back as normal. And I'm going to say thank you all so much for coming along to the stream. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for your chat. Thank you for your kind donations. And to those of you who subscribed and just for watching along and chatting and being part of the channel. I really appreciate it. And it's just so great. I've had such a good time. We'll see you again in another live stream or tutorial soon. Keep safe and have a very good evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.